chair and climb up there.
Hello?
Okay, I think now is around 7 o'clock. So we'll call them meeting to order at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. And first order of business is welcome gallery. Appreciate all the people that are here tonight. Big smile for the cameras, everybody. Don't be camera shy tonight. We'll be well recorded. And of course, as usual, now we have a microphone. How loud do we have to speak to the microphone?
You're gonna have to speak loud anyway, so speak
Okay.
loud.
All right, so,
I like being out.
yes, we have a microphone, so if we could all speak up, then I think we should be all right. Could we please review the agenda, and if there are any amendments to it? And if not, could I have yes? Lowering the flags? Okay, that will be 5, F is in Fred, 4. Under finance? Oh, new
Services.
Minus F. Oh, yes, okay, 4. Lowering the flag, community services, lowering the flag. And Councillor Amter?
I'd sent an email out in early February and again last week requesting unfortunately my tablet is not working, so I can't boot it up to read the actual email, but I'd sent a request regarding the policy or bylaw where the CA or designate must be at in-camera sessions.
I remember reading that email.
Okay, there were
And
multiple
it was a
emails
request
on
to
that.
put it on the agenda, but I don't see it here.
It's in a report for discussion.
Well, I didn't want it for discussion, I wanted it actually to be changed.
It's in my report for discussion because we don't have the background, we don't have the rationale. Council would then have to direct me to bring it to council if they so choose.
But any councillor can bring it in your report, right?
But I actually, in
Wanted the
February
procedure
12th,
bylaw.
I asked for it to be brought forward so that we could amend it, where the CA or designate does not have to be at an in-camera session. And that was sent out to all council and to the CAO. And that was in early February. And then it went on for about 3 weeks, so I sent a follow-up email last week as a reminder and a request for tonight.
So do you want that item placed on the agenda?
Yes, please.
All right, I'm gonna put it under administration as 5B, 9. 5B 9. Yeah, I'm looking at that too. That's a 1X.
That's correct.
Procedure bylaw. And I'm sure we'll have a break here between some of these items, and at that point, Councillor Amter, you can probably get that page of the bylaw that deals with the section that, procedure bylaw.
If somebody has access to their email, it'll be there, because I think
Yeah, okay.
Councilor Carey had said.
We'll have time to get it. All right, are there any other amendments to the agenda, Councillor Carrier?
Motion 202-14, page 6 of 10. We were asking to have more information on what different schedules were, so we could have that included on the rehabilitation. And it's not on the motion, but we had
On
wanted
which?
it to be, so we knew.
It was a breakdown, what motion was that? Was that from another set of minutes, or what minutes that was?
That was from the last minutes.
Okay, let's deal with that when we review the minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
So I think what he's saying was we wanted more information tonight's meeting, but maybe I guess for budget review on April 10th.
That's probably, but we will speak
Okay.
to it on, when we get to the minutes. Are there any other amendments? Additions? Can then I have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended? Councillor Rose has made that motion. motion? All in favor? It's carried. Scheduled delegations, we have the public library systems people here, I believe. Could you step forward and state your name for the recording secretary?
Certainly, I'm Linda Duplessis, the Director of Peace Library System. And now I'm wondering how my back of my hair is with all the cameras in the room. With your permission, could I just hand out
Certainly,
some supporting documentation for tonight? I just put a few on one side, a few on the other. You'll probably read in the middle. Sorry, camera people, the camera is probably all over the place here. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see if they do need the medal. Yes, they do.
I thought I counted right. You never know. Well, I'm very pleased to bring this update to council. I try to get out after every election year to our member municipal councils and just update them on Peace Library System. And I would like to thank Simone and Tracy from the library for just being here just to represent the library and show some support. For the benefit of new councillors, and I understand there's quite a change on this council, I'd like to provide just a little background on Peace Library System and our services to your library. And I'd like to review the funding structure and how the funds are allocated to the services. And finally, I'd just like to make you aware of some recent Peace Library System planning for long-term sustainability. So my handouts include a brochure, the kind that we give out to people who come into the library. It's for your information. It does list all of our member libraries and some other information. The front back-to-back page is really what I call the summary sheet of what I'm going to talk about, but I'm not going to go through it directly other than to reference some items on there. There's also a planning for the future document, and lastly a map. And if we could just start with the map, that would help me just let you know that Peace Library System is one of 7 library systems in Alberta. The boundaries are established by the province under the Libraries Act. But within those boundaries, member municipalities can decide whether or not to be a member of the library system. So 38 municipalities in our region are members of Peace Library System. And that is a very strong and cohesive partnership over the years since 1986, and makes a difference to the 45 libraries that we serve in this region. We are hopeful that the 5 remaining eligible members will come on board sometime, and I'll just let you know who they are because it's now quite easy to tell you who's not in. It would be Mackenzie County, the village of Drewville, and the 3 Métis settlements near High Prairie, East Prairie, Gift Lake, and Peavine. But I'm really pleased to be able to partner with the High Prairie Library to meet with them. We're hoping to meet in May to talk to the Métis settlements about library system membership. The system is governed by a board of directors. I'm not a government employee. We're established. The boundaries are established and the parameters are established by the province, but we're governed by a board of directors made up of municipal appointees. And of course, hello there. Your representative is Donna, who we met for the first time at our November board meeting back in 2013. So you might wonder, why do you need a library system when you have a really good library and libraries nearby? And libraries have always offered good local services and done a very good job. But what membership in a library system does is help them offer more services, some of which I'll refer to in a bit. And it also connects them together to one another. With technology, we can do a lot of connections these days so that your library is not on its own, it's connected to the rest of the region and actually to the province. On the one side of the summary sheet, where there's kind of a chart with two blue pieces or 2 blue headings, I'm not going to go through this list, but I'd just like to make you aware that our services are directed both to the library directly, things that are behind the scenes that you don't see. When we order the books for the High Prairie Library, you don't see that, but they end up in your library. So there's a lot of things that happen for the library, and increasingly, there's more and more services for residents. So lots of e-resources are now available for residents that didn't used to be, and they get them directly. They don't have to go to the library. They can log in the middle of the night if they want to and get them. So this list is just here for your information because I'm going to reference the services in a slightly different way. But I did want to point out that little bookmark about Zinio, because one of the latest services we put in place for member libraries is digital magazines. We've subscribed to the 50 most popular magazines, and they are available to anybody who has with a library card. You just have to go onto your library's website, click onto Zinio, and sign up to get the digital magazine. So you might be interested in National Geographic or Cosmopolitan or Family Handyman or whatever. There's a lot of variety there, but only 50 at the moment. We thought we'd start with that and then work our way up as we could. What I'd like to spend a minute doing is just, or a few minutes, is talk about how the funding works, because I've really found that councillors like to know how the money works. And so, just to let you know, public libraries and library systems are considered to be municipal services in Alberta. And that's why we fit under the jurisdiction of Alberta Municipal Affairs, just like your library does. In 2014, municipalities will contribute 58% of the revenue needed to provide the services, and the province actually gives us a grant for about 1/3 of the revenue. The rest is made up of little bits of things, but those are the two biggest funders of our library system, and in fact of the other 6 library systems as well. The municipal fees are $5.50 per capita. They get pooled from all the municipalities to be able to purchase or provide the services, whether it's a staff member coming out or an e-resource happening behind the scenes. The library boards contribute a further $2.75 per capita, and that's for library collections. It is used by the High Prairie Library to add to its collection. So in 2014, the town will contribute just over $14,000 for services, for the library system services, and the library board will contribute just about $7,000 for library collection, for materials for the library. So this is in addition to any contributions that you might make directly to the library. This is a separate layer of funding. And then we also, as I mentioned earlier, get a grant from the province of $4.60 per capita, and that allows us to provide the services. I'm just going to reference the back of that summary sheet, which has a graph at the top and a chart at the bottom. Thought council might be interested in knowing just how the money is spent. I've explained how the revenue fits together, but this is how the expenditures our expenditures are for the year. So we have just under a $2.5 million budget. About 80% of our expenditures are directed to either very direct services or indirect services to libraries and residents. And 20% of the funds are directed to operations and governance. So that includes things like our building, office, our board expenses. We have a board of 39 people if they all come, and they mostly do. And so there is some expense involved in that. So that's the little green part of the graph. The light blue part of 5% also is an indirect service because it's transfer payments. We are the library board for some municipalities, not the town, and so we get grants for that population, and we distribute it back out as directly back out. We don't keep any of that. But other than that, the other 4 areas represent the key areas that Peace Library System provides services. So I'm kind of looking at them in clockwise order here, but you can really see that library collections, our work with library collections is just about half of what we do. That involves the funds that the library boards put into ordering accounts that gets spent on materials. All the activities to get those ready, because we want to send the books back and the CDs or whatever they order back to them ready to go on the shelf. And also we purchase some special materials, so to supplement. they can borrow a box of large print books or a box of audiobooks on CD and borrow them for a while and send them back. So just in general with library collections, about half of our staff make those services happen. That's really our core service to libraries. And it really makes sense to centralize these activities rather than having every library order the same thing at the same time. We do it once for everybody. And libraries also get help in building their collections as to meet the needs of their community. Another really important area for Peace Library System, and increasingly so, is automation and IT support. When I first started in the library system, I think Grand Prairie Public Library was the only one with computers. Well, things have really changed. You've likely been in your library, and I was there this afternoon, and the computers were being used. We have automated the libraries on the same software. That's why they're connected. And they're also, as I mentioned before, connected across the province. So we provide support for that circulation software. They don't have to dial the US or Toronto, they dial Grand Prairie and get support. We also provide support for computers, for wireless equipment, SuperNet equipment, and as well, we provide internet services and website support to pretty much all of the libraries. So that department has gotten busier over time. And again, sharing just makes things cost effective, and they have somebody to rely on for those things as the demands are placed, stronger and stronger demands are being placed on the technology part of libraries. We have always provided support for libraries in the form of a librarian to come out and help. It just makes sense to do that because the library people in our area have some means of getting training, but in fact, many of them, your Janet LeMay is an exception because she's been trained in different ways over the years, but many of the library managers don't have a lot of training, so we can provide that support for them so they have somebody to ask questions. What do I do about this? How do I go about that? There's someone who will answer that, and they call us with questions all the time. Those same people who consult with the libraries offer a lot of training. This year we've started to do a lot more webinar training because, well, the person from Rainbow Lake really doesn't want to travel to Grand Prairie to get training, but she can dial in on a webinar and get that training. So we really tried to increase that kind of service, plus help with other library programs as needed. So libraries aren't alone. They have somebody to call, and we that's one of our roles is to help them with whatever is needed. And finally, and it's last but not least, because what are libraries about but sharing? They've always shared. It just used to be harder. You had to figure out what a library had and phone them and get it. Well, now on computer you can see what everybody's got and just press the button pretty much and reserve it. So libraries share, and in 2013, member libraries lent just over 203,000 items out to other libraries for their patrons. And the libraries borrowed 169,000 items for their own patrons. So that means whatever was borrowed by the patrons in High Prairie, the library didn't have to buy those. They could just borrow them for a while, use them, and send it back to the library it originated at. So that's a big help. Libraries just can't have it all, and they don't need to have it all. In terms of resource sharing also, we've been purchasing a lot more electronic, I'll call it an electronic collection, because when we buy ebooks or when we buy electronic databases, they're for everybody to use. So that is another way that we're sharing resources by buying electronic resources. So I guess what I'm saying with this overview here is that when you send your funds in each year, you can be assured that your libraries and the residents that are using it are getting good value in return. There are a lot of services going back out to the library and to your residents. And finally, if I could just reference the planning for the future document. I had to sneak this, I already had an appointment to come here, but I had to sneak it in after our Saturday board meeting because the board has been doing some planning for long-term sustainability. As you can imagine, the services that I've referenced do come with a cost, and it's mainly staffing costs. We have 17 full-time staff, but we have the least staff of any other library system except for a very tiny one in the corner of southern Alberta. Peace Library System has a balanced budget for 2014, but it faces deficits in 2015 and beyond in order to maintain all these services. And as well, the board is grappling with the fact that our capital reserves are about $296,000 and will be depleted by 2018 without some means of adding funds. So we need to buy vehicles for delivery, for consulting people to come out, for computer equipment to support the libraries. So the executive committee and the Peace Library System board have discussed this challenge in some detail, and they couldn't identify a service area to chop off. I mean, there they are, and what do you cut? And they were aware that any staff cuts would have a direct impact on services, because that's what our staff is, our service, basically. So on Saturday, last Saturday, the board passed a motion to put some things in play that should help with long-term sustainability. And the first one is that in 2015, Peace Library System plans to use 50 cents per capita of the money that library boards send in for the regional collection purchases. So for the e-books and the electronic resources and the information databases and the downloadable audiobooks and those kind of things that everybody shares. We are the only library system that really has never kept back part of that to help with those kind of things. And as we've been buying more and more regional collection items, it's become more apparent that we need a little bit of help in that regard. So that would be the first thing that the board is hoping to put into effect. We don't think that this is going to have a detrimental effect on library spending, so libraries have to come back to their councils and say, hey, Peace Library System's keeping this money, we don't have enough. Our experience is most libraries carry over money from year to year in their ordering accounts. We do have $400,000 sitting in unspent allotment funds right now. So not every library, but most libraries carry over some. So we think there's a little bit of room there to use it for the regional collections. We will, however, be conferring with the library boards to make sure that that's okay and it'll work in the coming months. The board also went a step further and would like to increase the municipal fees by 5% per year starting in 2016. So there would be no change in 2015 at all. So the current fee of $550 would stay the same for 2015, but would go up to $578 per capita in 2016. And so that is the route they'd like to go and to make it a regular occurrence so that the library system can offer the services, balance the budgets, and also add money into reserves. We have no means of adding money into reserves. There's no provincial money for capital, other than the odd CIP grant we managed to get. So the hope from the board is that we would be able to take some of that and put it into reserves for future capital needs. So those two actions should help us to keep things on an even keel. And I wanted to make you aware of them while I was here today because I was coming in person anyway, but we will be in touch with all municipalities as well as the library boards in the coming months just to solidify that. And I think the last thing I would just like to say is that I would like to thank you for your support for libraries. The Town of High Prairie has been a member of the Peace Library System since it started in 1986, you're a founding member, so that speaks volumes and it has made a difference. And you also support your own local library well. So you've shown your support for library services right in the region, and you know, we certainly can do more when we all work together. And I also thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to provide this update. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions you might have, and if I can't answer them, I'll find the answer.
Well, thank you for coming. When you say that we are a founding member, I know that one of the town councilors from 1986 was the founding member,
Yes.
Jean Lewis.
That's correct.
And spoke highly of the library, and I think that was her her force on council was to make sure that the library was looked after throughout her whole term as councilor. So, and I think it's carried through in the 30 years since that we always have felt that the library is a part of our town that we cannot do without. So we recognize that it is, it's an integral part of our town.
Absolutely.
Councillor Enter, did you have something you were wanting to add?
Who started?
Yep, we can start with Councillor
Thank
Rose.
you, sorry.
If we have anything, I thought I saw him raise his hand.
No,
Why did we go to Quincy?
That's why, because he looked like he was raising his hand. Did you want to add anything, or do you have any questions?
You know, I just had a question about the 30,000 annual put into reserves. That's just based on the increases that you're going forward with the 50 cents per.
That's right. We could have picked any number to put in reserves, but that seemed like a reasonable amount.
And how is that allocated to the regions? 'Cause
It would be per capita, so it won't be allocated in any different way. The rate is always all library funding is per capita, so when your rate goes up to, what did I say, 578, the revenue that comes in,
It's based on
some of that would be
population
put
surge.
into reserves. And then the reserves would be allocated according to the board's wishes, with how much to go in each one. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Councillor?
What is the membership for the High Prairie Library? What's our
I bow to the experts on that one.
A family membership currently is $20 for the year,
How many members do
and
you have?
for, oh, sorry,
How many?
members,
Yeah, of the library.
I don't have a current number for how many people have joined this year. I don't know,
Do we have
Janet would
approximately
have that,
500 members?
that'd be a good guess, yeah.
Well, we were talking the other day about dropping our membership fee, we were gonna lose about 7,000 out of the budget a year, so that's all our memberships together.
500 times 10,000, so, yeah, you're in the ballpark, 500 members. And that would not be family, because we've got,
A lot of seniors, lots of kids, lots of active adult memberships.
Okay, thank you.
now, Councillor?
Yeah. Hey, so I'm just trying to get a handle, a picture of your finances. It's your revenues per year then, are they roughly 13 million?
No, 2,500,000.
But when I look at the operating grant for library systems, 1.3 million, people, it's $5.9 million. And then I'm guessing the 1.3 million is the population of your territory?
We have 153,000 people, so it doesn't translate into
So
that
that
much.
must be for the entire
That's for the entire,
province and is 13
Yeah.
million.
I'm just gonna get
Okay. So sorry, your population again, or? it's based on-
153,000.
153.
And so, I just do have a budget here too.
Yeah, about 1.3, 1.4.
It breaks it down on the map here. If you look on the map, it shows you how many people belong in the region.
So what's your salary a year?
Is that a question from council?
No,
No.
it's just a question from a local prairie guy.
Could you direct that, if we're going to have, first off, will we accept questions from the gallery?
I think that would be a private question. I wouldn't ask a person directed that, I'm sorry. If
Sorry.
it's,
At this point, it's the discussion is between us, and the gallery is listeners, unless we invite people forward and ask for their input into the.
I have a library card, and I pay for it.
So,
And
I
what I'm
understand
trying to say
that.
is, sounds like, a lot of people are making a lot of money off of this, outside people.
You would actually have to go to the library board to discuss that, because all we're getting is a presentation.
she's
that?
not the library
She's
board.
not the library board,
She's Peace Library Systems, which is,
which is entirely different
Electronics.
than the library board, so. and
Maybe
I-
they should come represent us.
You would have to talk to the library board. So at this point, all we're doing is one-on-one with Peace Library. I'm sorry, but
You see that?
this is her delegation. It's not open to the public at this point, okay?
Could I just answer your question then?
You bet.
I would say about, 1,300,000 is all the municipal amount that comes in, yeah.
and that's your actual revenue per year net, including grants and, fees for
No, that's just the
municipalities.
municipal part. The
That's just
provincial
municipal.
revenue is about, just under 800,000. But then there's a little bit from schools, some other grants, sort of miscellaneous stuff.
Right. When I look at at your pie chart for the 2014 expenditures by service area, is this specific to our region then, the PLS? Or
Yes, this is our region. I can't say that the other regions have exactly that split.
Nope, no, that.
We do provide roughly the same services. I don't know how their split would be.
So when I would look at transfer payments, is that for subscriptions or books from other electronic services?
No, the transfer payments are simply library grants that we get for some municipalities where we're the library board. We actually do function as a library board for 8 municipalities. We get the provincial operating grant for on the behalf of those municipalities, and we send it out to the libraries that their residents go to. So that's what the transfer payments are.
So that's back to the libraries of your area then?
Some library. There's actually 8 libraries involved in that transfer.
About $100,000. Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Any other questions? No? Okay, I don't think we have anything else. But thank you for coming, and thank you for giving us this information. I'm certainly sure we'll be reviewing it. And I know that as we go through a little bit more of our year and learn more about it, we will probably be talking to our own library board and our delegate here. And if we have any other questions, I'm sure you'll be hearing from us or from the library board or the delegate.
Well, by all means, I'm certainly available for questions as needed. And I do thank you again for the opportunity to come tonight.
Yeah, it was, are you in town to work with the library board or?
I'm not specifically here for the library board. I was at the MDA Big Lakes Council this afternoon and then stayed over to, thank you so much for having them on the same day. That worked out really well. But I'm heading back to Grand Prairie tomorrow.
Good.
Is that where your headquarters is located?
It is. It is in Grand Prairie. I guess there was a bit of a debate about whether it be Peace River or Grand Prairie, and somehow or other Grand Prairie won. So, thank you again.
Well, thank you.
Good night.
Appreciate you coming. Let's do. All right. The next item of business is the minutes, the review of the minutes of the regular meeting of council. Are there any other public delegations? Public delegations? No, I see no more. I hear no more public delegations stepping forward. So, we'll go to review of the minutes of regular meeting of council, March 26th, 2014.
Well, it should be the 12th.
Oh, well, there you are. How come nobody made the agenda?
Cause I just caught it.
March the 12th.
Well, the minutes say the right.
Page number 7.
Page number 7, yes?
Underneath motion 193/14,
Yes.
amendment moved by Councilor Panasic for an amendment to give away,
Yeah, I noticed that. Is that
seems something's missing on that. Give away,
I think it was deleted.
or maybe it was deleted, I don't know.
We're talking about the
No,
rodeo
it
tickets.
was to give
Yes,
away
cause
the
then
tickets.
Mike's motion after that is about the rodeo tickets.
So he amended to give away the tickets as a raffle, 6 of the 8, which was completed like the.
So you amended a part motion. Or you didn't get completed.
Yeah, it explains everything in 194/14.
Well, can we delete that whole part then? And just stay with the motion, 194/14.
The amendment?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we move from 193/14 to 194/14, and pieces in between is deleted. All right? Are there any other,
Yeah.
Councilor Quinn?
205/14, page 10.
Yes?
It's just I don't know if there's here it says council, and then the next town council is a different type of council. I'm trying to help you with something.
The council,
Council, and then council.
so you wanna take,
They're trying to help you, Page 10 on the bottom.
remove one of the councils.
And
change the council to council.
Yes. When you look down.
To read, yes, spelling mistake on the next one. Alright,
Oh,
Same thing with 21114, it says council.
14, council,
Page 11.
yes,
regarding that 20514, in the policy, you are to refer to town councils, like our lawyers. That's why it's spelled that way. So you are referring to town council, may also prepare a statement for the CAO, right?
So it is referring to the
Yeah.
lawyers then, it's not
Yes.
referring to the town council?
No, we were to change it that, that town council may, right? That we were changing that in the policy.
maybe we should say the town's council. But isn't that spelled different?
Legal counsel, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same spelling, C-O-U-N-S-E-L. The direction is to make change to that policy.
Council, I see.
Yeah, he wants to put that.
Okay, so you want that E left in, unless you wanna say to read the town's council.
I think, I remember the policy saying that for town council to prepare.
Okay, I'm sure you will have the ones.
It's on the policy.
Alright, Counselor Carrier,
Motion 20714, we made the amendment to change, special constables to police officers, but I still don't see EMS included on that, and that was the whole purpose of that, bringing that forward, was to have EMS added to that flag policy,
that's right,
and it's not in there.
yes?
When it was presented to you, it was presented to you with the EMS on there, so the change was already made.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay? And then peace officers were added. Okay. Any other errors or omissions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve as amended.
Counselor Amter has made the motion to approve the minutes as amended. All in favor?
Hi.
And
Nay.
what happened to Counselor
She-
Rowe?
I just want my street fixed. I live at 5121 55th Ave. I don't got time for this meeting.
When I called for public delegations, that was when you could have stepped forward.
No, what?
2550 what?
I don't got time for all this.
Okay?
What I'm saying is, I've been here over 15 months. I own property. I can't even get my stuff done. I want something done.
What was your name, sir?
It's Norman LaRoe.
Norman Maloro.
That's right.
Okay, what was your address again?
5121 55th Ave.
Okay?
I just want my potholes and
You
stuff
have
fixed.
potholes? Anything else?
Huge. I got water in front of my place the size
Okay,
of your council meeting.
anything else?
Nothing more, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate you stopping in. Alright? Next item of business, we have a motion on the books. Do we have a motion, or did we get that carried?
No, we carried it.
Okay? Next item of business. Pioneer Threshermen's Association. And this CO has left the meeting. I'm losing people, left and right here.
It's the cameras, they're scaring everybody.
Everybody.
We're all gonna get up and just randomly leave.
Alright, I'm sure we can handle the Pioneer Threshermen Association. It was a request that was tabled or postponed from another meeting. And the amount recommended by the CAO is $500 for sponsorship, and the discussion, we had given $500 from last year for the demolition derby and the July 1st celebration, so what is it that you would like to do this year? And I will only draw your attention to the fact there is no $500 sponsorship, there is only $150, and the next item is $750.
Okay, before we can discuss, I'd like to make the motion
Yes?
that council approve the amount of $500 for the Pioneer Freshman Association annual demolition during the 1st of July.
All right, discussion please?
$500.
Do you have anything further to add, Councillor Arrington?
Yeah,
Where's
I
the
actually
comments?
don't agree. If we're already sponsoring an event for the Town of High Prairie that is being, it is occurring in the town, why would we sponsor a competing event outside of town?
Okay. Councillor Long?
So I would say that the demolition derby and the hoedown, I attended it last year, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people were there, if not over 1,000 people easily. And those people are spending monies in our town. They come in, they eat at A&W or at Smitty's or wherever. They come and get refreshments. They come to our town. So I think it's money well spent. It's a small amount, and I support the motion.
Okay. Councillor Tanaka?
I support the motion of 500.
Councillor Rose?
I actually think that we should consider, maybe a bronze sponsorship. Where actually, 500 isn't a sponsorship level. 150 is a basic sponsorship, so if we're gonna put 500, I really don't get why we would be doing this. This is sponsorship, right? So this is advertising, marketing, and promotion. So we have to be wise with our dollars, right? This is taxpayers' dollars. So I would say we either go to 150 and you drop down to the level that they're asking for, or you jump up to 750 and you put your name at the gate. And if we're saying that we really want to put our name forward and support this event, which I support, and I think it's a very good idea, because there's a lot of people within the region that are going to this event. And if we have to be able to count on these people to put forward the events, even though I know we're part of other things, but we can't run everything, right? So we just have to be able to support the ones that are already in place.
Okay. And it is a 3-day event. So it's 3 days. The demolition derby is 1 day. If you look at the letter that they wrote on page 16, they talk about this being a 3-day showdown. So, and I do know
That was
that
the 2-day entry.
last year it was 2 days. It was the demolition derby.
But that's all they're asking
on the
for, is
30th.
a 2-day entry.
I know, but it looks like they're doing a 3-day.
Okay.
But even if it was only 2 days, the demolition derby is 1 day, and that's where most of the people come. The second day is the July 1st celebration, which is where I spoke last year, and there was probably a third as many people. But
And
it
if we're
was-
gonna have to purchase tickets to go to put a delegate there, then maybe they should be included in the.
well, you get a 2-day entry class and so, okay, so
So is that a friendly amendment to the Russian?
That would be what I would make as a friendly amendment. to the
I
motion.
would have to see if Councillor Hampton would accept that friendly amendment.
Sure.
Friendly amendment then, would you like to say it again so that the recording secretary has it?
Friendly amendment to amend the,
Sponsorship amount?
I guess, the sponsorship amount to a 750 bronze level, which would be an increase of 250,000, or $250, oh my goodness.
Okay? Any discussion on that amendment? All in favor? It's opposed? That's carried. Could you read the motion then for the motion now, as it reads with the amendment included?
Moved by Councillor Emter that Council approve the amount of $750 for the Pioneer Threshermen's Association's annual demolition derby, 1st of July celebrations, and hoedown music jamboree sponsorship to be taken from general ledger number 2112210000000.
All right. All in favor? Opposed?
I messed up.
Carried. I like that.
Friendly amendment was 4. It's,
You
I
were
messed
for
up.
the amendment, but you were opposed to.
no, I was
All right,
supposed to say
loan
that.
guarantee bylaw for the High Prairie Golf Club. And you've, I think we've gone around this a couple of times, so I think we all kind of know what it's about, but would you like to explain this, either Councillor Emter or the CAO? Which one would like to explain it a bit?
Okay. So the High Prairie Golf Club approached the Town of High Prairie, requesting a comfort letter, so that they could increase their operating line at RDC from 30,000 to 60,000. The Town of High Prairie actually owns the land, equipment, and buildings of the golf course. The High Prairie Golf Committee or club actually runs everything, but everything they do, every improvement they do, benefits our equipment, our land, our value. So by offering the operating line, by guaranteeing the operating line, we're allowing them to continue to offer this service to the town and also improve the course itself. I think it's hopefully a yes.
Alright. Councilor
I
Delaney.
just have a couple of questions. One of the last meetings you had spoken to that basically if they say we're done, they give it back to us. What are the chances of them defaulting?
On the loan,
Yes.
as any business, if it doesn't operate enough, it doesn't get its casino funding, it doesn't have enough memberships, it could default. But then if it defaults, the town takes it over and then the town will hopefully run the golf course or close it, their choice, or put it up for sale.
Okay. I don't know if you can answer this question from the letter from Doris. The paragraph supported by general security agreement and guarantee and postponement of claim on the bank for 8/12 in the amount of 150,000 signed, but what does that mean?
Oh,
What
that
does
is,
that postponement mean?
well, that is actually a loan that we can guarantee also.
Right,
And they've made 3 of their payments, so
Right.
they owe 105, and so it's not 150.
Right.
Postponement of claim on bank from 8/12 means that we will postpone. Basically, if they default on the loan, we'll have to pay that loan also. Otherwise, they can have access to either equipment or land.
okay.
They give whatever guarantee there was in place, but I don't think there's anything but us.
Does anybody know what the value is of the land, the equipment?
The last appraisal was about 1.6 million.
Okay.
So we're 10-1 in security here.
So the security we have is extremely good.
Yes.
All right.
We're okay on that so far.
Because I tend to agree with the rationale at the beginning where it says, the CAO has said that, we're not in the business of guaranteeing loans for nonprofit organizations. However, we own the assets of this organization. Is there anyone else who has any other questions? Would you like to speak to this at all?
Oh, I think it's,
You self-explanatory. All right.
I'm just a
Yes?
little bit concerned about, we have an ask on the table for the money, right?
Sorry, what's
We have
that?
the ask on the table for the money, they need more operating funds. They're not able to secure them without our support,
No.
but we have no say in operations.
Cause they don't know anything. They don't, everything they purchase, even though they purchase it under their name, we own it, according to the lease contract. Doesn't matter if it's a piece of equipment that they can drive off and store somewhere
And
else.
every year we've just increased the amount.
Nope, this $30,000 is, I don't know the exact year, but I know it's more than 5 years ago, the operating line. Do you know when it originated?
I don't know, but what I do know is that the 10,000 is not guaranteed also by the town. So by going through the.
So the previous 30,000
was
wasn't
not
guaranteed,
guaranteed, yeah,
The
so.
previous 30 was guaranteed by the town, but our letter of comfort expired.
So it's not guaranteed.
So it's not currently guaranteed, but it was original.
So right now, we're not on the hook for anything, and you're asking us to go on the hook for 60.
Yeah. Well, we're on the hook for 105,
Which is the loan.
right, where they do 15,000 principal
So
plus
it's-
interest.
So really, they could have come back and said, 30, we need a letter of comfort again. 5 years ago we had it. We managed the 30,000 quite well. Now they're just coming for a larger line of credit, a letter of comfort for a larger line of credit.
And we're asking for monthly statements or anything, Quentin?
We have, I have their budgets from the last previous 4 years, and I also have this year's planned budget. I can bring that to council next
guess I'm just saying, if we're gonna go forward and say yes, I'd just like to see some accountability.
Yeah. The way I look at it, right now, we fund, rec board for $500,000 a year.
And we can ask them for a profit and loss all the time, right? We can ask them for an
Yeah,
income statement.
we could ask that too.
I think that's just what I'm saying, it's like
Yeah.
ask for an income statement, treat it like the rec board, treat it like a department.
Yeah,
that-
for accountability,
Yeah.
make sure where the money's going, you bet.
Could we get a motion then?
Yeah,
As to-
I'd like to make the motion that we, do a letter of comfort for the High Prairie Golf Club in the amount of $60,000 to RBC.
It's a bylaw, so we have to introduce a new bylaw, and then afterwards we have to advertise it for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, and then do a second and third reading,
Okay.
so yes, right?
So your motion then will be to introduce a bylaw.
A new bylaw.
Two bylaws, 02/2014. This 26th day of March 2014.
And bring back to
And that
council.
direct, yeah.
Alright, so you're going with the second recommendation?
No.
Councillor Emter, will that be your motion?
No, the two.
No.
No.
Both?
Both.
Oh, I see, okay.
That we, introduce it to today, adopt it, advertise it for 2 weeks, and
Oh,
bring
I
it
see.
back on.
And page 23
4
is
weeks.
the bylaw. Alright,
So,
Does it have to be at the April 23rd, or could it be at the April 9th?
We need 2 weeks.
Yeah, you need 2 weeks, yeah, not enough time.
it's right there. So on page 23, you will see the bylaw. And we have a motion.
is there any interest in adding to that bylaw that we received sort of financial statements?
What's that?
Should we add at all?
No, the bylaw is okay. So the process is that we introduce and give first reading to the bylaw, then we advertise it in the newspaper for 2 weeks for any comments. People know exactly what's going on with their funds, and then we'll come back and do second reading and third reading, and then the bylaw will support the law.
I'll bring it forward to the, to do that.
Alright then, so we will do first reading. You have 3 times to think about this. So the first reading is the beginning of it. And is the motion then to introduce? Is this what the
Yeah, to
motion is?
introduce and give first reading,
Okay.
and all of that.
And so if I then say all in favor,
Yeah.
that is the first reading?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of this motion? It's carried. So that was the first reading of the bylaw. Alright.
We have
Okay.
a month to think about.
And we'll get the financials from you.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, next item of business is the Big Meadow Community Hall Association. Could I get a motion on this after you, I think you pretty well read it over? And then we can discuss it further if, a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we receive this for information.
Okay. Any, discussion on this item?
Have you ever been asked for this type of donation before? Not necessarily from the hall, but to
This
sponsor,
type of, have you seen this type? I have never seen one like
No.
this.
It's extremely individual, and we have to be very careful about that.
And what?
I think we have to be really careful about individual ask.
Yes.
It's not a group, right? It's not an association, it's an
Yeah.
individual ask, and I think that that's something maybe outside, and maybe there's some direction. I mean, ultimately, I'd love to see that we can put this cause forward even individually to the other companies and stuff we represent, and see if we can bring items forward for their event. But maybe we can go to, Matco and 2021 and other companies like that. I don't know that the best place for this is the Town of High Prairie.
and they may have already done the soliciting.
Right, and if they
I-
did, then that's great, but I mean, I think that we've sort of been already advised by municipal affairs that we're not in the business of sponsoring individual events kind of like this, so this is a struggle.
Any other comments? Alright, we have a motion. Could you read it back, please?
Moved by Councillor Emter that council receive the donation request for cash donation from the Big Meadow Community Association for the auction event held at the Big Meadow Hall on Saturday, April 5th, 2014 for information.
All in favor? It's carried. Next item of business is the Public Interest Disclosure Act, which is, Councillor Emter?
I'd like to make a motion that we receive this for information.
Okay, the motion is to receive for information. And this, of course, has, been here since June 28th, almost 9 months. After diligent search, I believe you have come up with one municipality that has enacted legislation. I actually thought that they had a good bylaw. Or procedure, a policy. It was a good policy. Councillor Hampton?
Yeah, the city of Grand Prairie's been developing theirs for the last 3 months. They're not complete yet. I think that I'd like to wait and see what theirs looks like. They have a lot more money than we do, so let them spend it.
Okay. Any other suggestions, comments? Yes?
No, that's okay. We'll wait for it to come on, then we'll look at it again.
Okay. So the motion, could you read it back, please?
Moved by Councillor Emter that council receive the Lac-La-Biche County Whistleblowing Standard Operating Procedure Policy for information.
All in favor? It's carried. Next item, council discretionary funds policy. And would anybody like to make a motion on this one? Councillor Carrier?
Make the motion that council approve policy number 49, 2014, council discretionary funds.
Alright. Any comments on this? I have one. It's on the bottom of second page 40. And it says that council is not allowed to make motions to disperse funds regarding requests that are not on the distributed agenda. And I look at 4.2 and that's exactly the same wording. So I'm wondering why it's there twice.
I call that as well, so I think we should take out from the word also that the mayor and council discretionary expenses should have supported, that all can be taken out because 4.1 and 4.2 speak to that already.
So take that whole
From where- from
4 lines
also.
out.
Yeah, 4 lines from also.
Alright.
Bottom down.
Yes, also, that the mayor and council should, not on the disputed agenda. Those are already in 4.1 and 4.2. And that would make it more readable.
So,
Yes, Councillor?
question then, so if something pops up, we can take the opportunity to go and do a purchase for something that was missed, a grand opening, whatever it was. And then we inform Kelly of the purchase and ask him to put it on the agenda, and if he has time to put it on the upcoming, if not, it'll be on the next one, and then it can be approved.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So that's the procedure. Do you want that in there? Because basically, if you make a purchase without the approval,
You're at risk.
you're at risk.
Okay.
Do you want it to say that, or are you just know that?
Well,
I'm making reference to the John Street report, page 96, recommendation number 47. The last sentence says, council should not be allowed to make motions to disperse discretionary funds regarding requests that are not on the disputed agenda because of the history of the town.
Right,
And it's from this report.
that's true. But if they do make that at their own risk, and they may then place it on the agenda, and it can be discussed.
It can be discussed and whether it'll be reimbursed or not will be up to council, as long as it's placed on the agenda.
I think
Councillor Long?
it might, for clarity's sake, it might be prudent to include that, just to say that just because you've purchased it does not necessarily mean you will be reimbursed, so I think it's important that we should include that somewhere in here, just to let councillors know that you may or may not be reimbursed based on the decision of council.
I think it states that.
It
By
does.
having to, if you've gotta bring it, you've gotta give it to Kelly,
Yeah.
Kelly can put it on the agenda.
Good enough.
Well, he has to put it on the agenda. Then
Yes,
that-
but it can be voted down.
But it can be voted on. All right. Are you all right with that, Councillor, or Councillor Long?
Yes, I am.
All right. Any other questions? Any other, so we need an amendment then to, remove that line, those 4 lines out of section 40.
4.0.
An amendment then have the wording for that?
Which lines were they? I'm sorry, I missed
The
them.
last four, also that the mayor and council.
Okay.
4.0.
In the policy, it's
Yeah.
All right, so I'll make that amendment.
So you make the motion.
No,
Yeah,
somebody
with
made
that
the motion.
amendment?
Councillor Carrier made the motion.
Oh, yeah, friendly amendment.
Did you make, I made the amendment, okay. We're
Well-
voting on the amendment to remove the 4 lines. All in favor? It's carried. And, do you find the 4 lines?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we've got one motion to vote on. I'm just waiting for her to finish it. All right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, now we're going to vote on the motion to accept the honorarium policy as amended. The discretionary funds policy, as amended, sorry. All right, do you want to, does anybody want it read back again? No, we're okay? All in favor? It's carried. All right, next item of business, it's enhanced policing program. And you've read this over, you can see that they're asking for a more strongly worded motion. And my only thought on this was that I thought we couldn't commit councils to future years.
you can, but it's something we want to hear. And so that's good. But I spoke to Bill this morning, and I sent an email yesterday, last week, stating
Before we
clearly.
discuss it, let me see.
Okay.
All right, make the motion.
I'd like to make the motion that we inform the MD, that we will give 100,000 this year and the intent to give the following 2 years 100,000 each.
2015 and
I'm going
2016.
with
That's correct.
recommended,
You wanna go with just the recommended wording?
Sure,
yeah, because,
makes it easier.
okay.
All right. Okay, so Councillor Emter has made the motion to approve. Now, what did he say?
Yeah, so the MD has gone, I sent them an email last week telling them how committed council is. And so this morning when I spoke to Bill, they still are going ahead to renew the enhanced policing program. So this is just a top up to make sure that nobody, that it doesn't fall through the cracks. So I just want to protect the town.
Okay, but you told us we can't do this.
In principle, it's helpful to the town, in principle, but come next year, you have to recommit to another budget.
Because we can always change it next year.
Yeah, you can always change it next year.
Okay.
In principle,
Remember,
every
I'll remember
year-
those words in principle, because when this comes up again, in principle.
Yeah. No, every
But it's
year,
true.
the MDA,
All right.
the budget, you have to do it every year.
That's why I was saying
Yeah.
with the intent
Yeah,
for 2015
But
and
yeah,
2016. We can't say we will.
They didn't want that word intent, they want the commitment.
Can't give that.
All right, in principle, we can. We now have this wording,
I thought that the renewal had to be done in March.
this March, they're getting down
Well,
to
it's
the,
the 26th, so,
right down to the
Pretty tight for them.
yeah. And by the time we send to this and they get their next board meeting,
We already gave this
Yeah.
recommendation,
Yeah.
we're just looking for tighter wording, so I mean, it's probably not gonna be.
they know what's gonna happen, so.
all right, all in favor? This one is carried. If you think I'm moving you along, I am. I'm really trying to.
Good on you.
To move you along here. Public hearing process. Would you like to speak to this?
yeah, I'll speak to this,
Make a motion.
Make a motion. Motion. Councillor Long has made the motion. And which one is it? Down at the bottom? You're gonna go with the recommended action?
Yes,
Okay?
municipal, it's there, in writing.
so we're going with the recommended action that council received the Town of High Prairie Municipal Inspection Report recommendation number 42, which states that the public hearing process includes sufficient explanation of the bylaw for councillors and the public to understand the purpose of the bylaw and the process to include representation from the town regarding the bylaw for information.
Yes.
And this is the one I did review last year.
Yeah, so that's your motion.
Yes.
Okay, no, no, Steve.
Yes.
Okay, so, the Town of High Prairie Municipal Inspection Report, recommendation number 42 made that observation. And the reason they made that observation was that when the inspector took a look at the time frame between when public hearing was done, the beginning and the end. There just seemed to be just small time. So it didn't look like there was enough time given to the public in terms of explaining things so that the public really understands what's going on. So what I've done is I've gone to the procedure bylaw 06/2013, section 17, and I will state that the public hearing process that we have in the procedure bylaw is very clear. So that it's up to us or up to council to make sure that when somebody comes in to do the public hearing that it's given enough time and that there's really nothing to change but to receive this observation or this suggestion for information.
Well, I believe part of the problem is that the minutes of the public meeting should probably reflect that there was nobody there to speak to or whatever. That's probably why it was so short. So if the minutes had been a little bit more detailed, I think it would have shown that. Councillor
I agree with the recommended action, and I've read the secret bylaw. It's very clear, so this is, let's proceed and carry on.
Any other comments? No? No? Okay. Well, I'm thinking that we probably, if we have a public meeting and nobody attends, it should say there, nobody attended. Or something to show why the time is so short on it, because that's why the time is so short, and that's why the minutes look like nothing happened.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
That is reasonable.
So that
You sound shocked.
So it's up to administrative.
It's up to administration
Yeah,
to
so-
elaborate a little bit on the minutes, to show why
On camera, buddy.
this happened. Okay,
Just need.
we have the
So do you want
recommended
an
action.
amendment on?
I don't think so. I think we just have to be aware of the fact that when we do the public meeting, we actually look to see in future, if you go back a year later, is somebody going to say, well, what happened there?
And just that there was no.
There was no attendance, there was no presentation, there was no,
Are you talking about this regular council meeting with the public hearings?
no, I'm talking
Or
about,
when there are public hearings?
I'm talking about bylaw public hearings, when you do presentations or
But
whatever.
this is about the public hearing process and not regular council.
Okay, so when there's public hearings.
Yeah,
Okay.
isn't that what this is about?
That's what it is about.
Okay.
Good. Oh, we all agree on that.
All right, all in favor? It's carried. Next item on the agenda is the museum agreement. This is the first time this has come to council.
Yeah, this is the first time, yes.
Councillor Amster?
I'd like to make the motion as recommended, council approve the letter of understanding between the Town of High Prairie, etc.
All right, so the recommended action is the motion by Councillor Amster. And would you like to speak to this now?
Yeah, and this is a museum agreement. There's a lot of understanding which the museum has made suggestions to in terms of changes to the museum agreement. So once you approve this, we'll take the information and then make changes to the agreement and have the mayor and myself sign it, and then we'll go from there. And so there's some of the suggested changes are in the RFP, as you see.
Okay, do you want other suggestions now, or do you want suggestions emailed into you, or how do you wanna handle suggestions?
If you have any other suggestions, you can suggest them to us, and then we can include it in the.
Okay, Councillor Amster?
I'm curious as to what the financial cost will be to the town for all of these changes. There's snow removal, maintenance, cleanup, common entrance, roof of the building, exterior lighting, furnaces, hot water, plumbing. We collect no rent, they pay the utilities. And it's a program that's funded intermunicipal, right? The two parties take care of it. So if we take over other portions of it, it's no longer mutually funded, now it's funded entirely by us.
How have they been doing snow removal and things like that?
I think
Right.
they've already been doing the things that are listed, the snow
So the
removal.
town's been doing
We've been
Yes.
doing it anyway.
They've
We
been
just
doing
don't
it,
have
it's
the
just
agreement, I think.
included in the lease now as it's listed. I believe leave his house, done.
Exactly.
But it's not like that at the library. The library, they hire,
Yeah.
and then.
I mean, it draws attention to it now, because we're trying to add it to the lease.
And see, that's where I wish actually it was under
So-
their own budget, and therefore was funded by both parties instead of one. Now, the roof, I can see, we own the building, we should be responsible for the roof, we should be responsible for, furnaces, hot water, plumbing, et cetera, that's our building. But general maintenance, cleanup, exterior, landscaping, that should be mutual.
I actually agree with you. And I think that,
She sounds surprised.
your motion is to approve the lease, letter of understanding, and actually, I had, quite a few different questions regarding the lease, so do we want to vote on that and then have a new motion? Or do you wanna withdraw your motion?
No, we had to have the motion so we could have the discussion, it can be defeated, and then we can make a new motion if
Okay.
it goes that way, it may not, it may be approved.
Because when I look at it, I see Schedule A, and I'm looking and thinking to myself, well, why are we saying that tenants cannot drive nails, screws, hooks, et cetera, into the walls, when I know they're hanging pictures all over the place in there?
They're hung by, special cables.
That's right, but they
That's
are,
not through the walls.
well, they're put through the ceiling, they gotta fasten it to something.
Well, it's true.
And the wiring, they could be putting up lights to focus on the pictures that are displaying, and I'm certainly sure that they're not gonna keep coming to us and ask if we can do this, or can we move the telephone or that. And the parking, well, I'm really not sure where the parking is designated there, I think they just park.
Well, they don't really have a parking, they just park on the street.
Exactly, so
Or right behind it.
why do we have to say that they are going to park at their stall that's allotted to them? And I'm not sure about the signs, because, when I look and see that they're, not allowed to put any radio or TV antenna without our written consent, I'm not sure if they're gonna be doing any TV antennas anymore. So, and, noise and disturbance, tenants will not do or permit anything that will disturb, be a nuisance to the other tenants. Who else is in that building? And so, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this needs a little bit more attention paid to it before it should come back again. So, we have a motion to accept the lease, the letter of understanding. All in favor? Opposed? And so it is defeated. And do you wanna make a motion to have it come back again, Councillor Edmonton? Direct administration to rewrite it? Councillor Long?
I direct administration to clean this up a little bit and bring it back to council so that we can put this one to rest.
Kelly, do you want any of us to come forward with any recommendations on this?
Yeah, if you forward us the recommendations that you have, that'd be great.
I will. Everyone else will?
Just
And then-
I honestly think that cleanup and stuff should be part of their budget.
Put suggestions in, because when it comes back again, we discuss it one more time. All right, all in favor of that motion? That's carried, thank you. Next item in business is the council code of conduct policy. Does anybody want a break for 5 minutes?
I require one.
All right, 5-minute break before we do the council code of conduct.
Councillor Hampton, all your stuff is on the printer right now.
I'd like to see the,
Sorry?
Your stuff is on the printer.
My
I'd like to see the
It's done.
Oh, thanks. What stuff did I do?
That gentleman that was in, he was recently reported in our court docket, the one that was with the, pardon me?
Mine's not.
The one that was.
Mine's
he
not
didn't have
off.
the proper certification to be a welder, so he's blaming me for that, so he's told me if I was sitting there, I'm gonna be following you wherever you go, so.
That's,
Yeah.
This stuff.
Oh,
The blue and white?
It's the total procedure bylaw that you asked for.
Okay.
It's on page 9 though.
Page 9?
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Oh, good, thank you.
Linda, be this.
Oh. So I could read what Blair is doing and.
Mhm.
I don't understand this code of conduct recommendation 32. What made that last?
The what?
That was what made that recommendation. I was kind of.
Crap,
I
next time
don't
we
have
break
the
it.
background.
Yeah,
We both pulled it up from online, so we can follow along.
the way I took it was that they tried to look at the procedure bylaw on how the public should behave within the meeting settings, which we have, and
Yeah.
also in general. But over and beyond that, in terms of code of conduct for council of man.
So what made you make that recommendation? Just because there wasn't any, or was there a specific?
I was hoping it was gonna be the end of
something
April
happened
again.
at council?
Yes.
I guess my
Really hoping that it
problem
was like
is
there,
was
it's
I
funny
thought
that I
code
could
of
start.
conduct would include
But
the
you
lawyers, but you
Why not?
had
It
both
was
code of
pretty
conduct
broad.
for the
Yeah,
lawyers.
it's, the code of, it can be at different levels, but you can see council
Yeah.
members and
Yeah.
council.
That was the one that he wants.
That's the
It's gonna be
parameters that
dirt
you
free.
have
We
to.
should just start the cleanup file.
And we,
Like,
obviously,
I don't think the town would like me on it.
I took the parameters from it.
Yeah.
That's what
I know we talked about it, like.
I couldn't figure out, right, I couldn't figure out where the beginning and the end was, that was how he was thinking. But I just had to come up with something.
Yes, and we had to pay extra stuff over there. Yeah, because they're 26
Yeah,
really.
that's what I did fast.
So you packed and ready to go? What time do you need for? When I get
I'll leave it there for you. I'll leave it there.
We don't go fly over.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so
You lose a bet?
Spring is here.
Spring is here?
I grew it just,
Oh, winter.
yeah, I don't normally grow it.
Oh, really?
No, it started in first of November.
Right.
And I, grew it till it got annoying. And that's what happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that was the first time you really had a beard and it's, yeah.
It's first year I ever grew it. Probably did last.
But I got it, I read it. Yes, yes, that's first, I mean, this is it. Oh, that's good, oh, okay. So you're all ready, just about ready to go. Just about, yeah, sure. I got my suitcase. Your mom got hers already? I was right around. This morning, busy days since 7 o'clock this morning.
So, busy at work or not really?
Well, I thought it'd be a heck of a lot busier than it is, we got that 4 for 3 sale happening, but
Oh, really?
I guess it's been pretty slow. And nobody's changing over the winter tires yet either. They're
Not with this
expecting something
crazy
I'm
weather.
not expecting, I guess.
Well, I used to dump down in central Alberta, like Edmonton and Red Deer and along the
Yeah.
west part of the province.
Yeah.
And then back east in Nova Scotia and the airport shut down in Halifax. Pardon?
He just doesn't wanna record the audience anymore. Well, that guy was pretty drunk, he said, inside you, eh?
Yeah, as I said, you know, he's
You were very poor.
the one that did a story on a few weeks ago that he didn't have proper welding papers.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, what's your name first?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he was married to her.
So when he was, I was talking, he was deciding that he was going to follow him years ago, so
I was
I was at these events.
after a while.
Yeah, okay. Because they're all done.
Tom Hatters, so we told the police.
Careful when I see
It's
you.
okay, you got quite a bit of it, so Canada.
Yeah.
over there.
That's understandable.
I'll have to change my choice of drink.
Only wear something with me.
Oh, you're off.
This won't let us know I'm lost another job and I lost my job because of you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Help us out anytime you want. I'm at all times here. It's open.
She did things.
Marquez?
Yeah, because we want to have court.
Who needs teeth?
I do.
Just make the, what's it called?
I don't know what that is. That look like crack.
You know when you have bananas and strawberries and milk?
A smoothie?
A smoothie.
Oh.
Whatever councilor in camera, the CEO shall be present. I want to submit.
Which,
Actually, I just want to remove 16.
It's like, what the hell
Hey,
happened? You
good
want
things
that.
for Rowdy.
Hmm?
Things for Rowdy.
That's what I do.
Alright.
So what's with the rare music?
That's Chris, we're just trying to test for live streaming.
Yep.
And see how it works.
Is he with the local company?
Yeah. I forgot what was his name.
Right now, I'm looking at Arlington bus.
What's his last name?
Chris.
Still need your buses.
Yeah.
It's just not to sleep. He's like, cute. So he's like, you don't want to sleep on the bus. I'm like, ah. Don't take anything with
Two
me.
thumbs up for you to be there. The whole council.
So what do we do?
Two thumbs up, man. Two thumbs up.
You told me.
Two thumbs up.
Hey, I've been making motions like this. That's what I
That's
said.
right, I didn't hear nobody else.
I've been pushing it along.
He's doing very well.
I'm saying thumbs up to the mayor and thumbs up to the council.
Look, not even 8:30 and we're halfway.
You've done your homework, you know what you want to say? Boom, let's go.
When I was looking at Ross River, it was
I'm ready.
That's your 30-second warning.
30-second warning.
I'm not gonna have an air horn here.
An old school bell.
Okay. Back in session, 8:25. The next item of business now is the council code of conduct policy, and we need a motion. Councilor Long, I'm sure, wants to make that motion.
I make the motion.
Approves the council code of conduct policy number 61-2014. Now, you've read the code of conduct. Would you like to speak to this, Mr. Tomaco?
Yeah, I think this is just a beginning point. Every organization has a code of conduct policy at the board level. So this particular code covers the standard of conduct, respect for the decision-making process, release of confidential information, acceptance of gifts, conflict of interest, and general aspects of code of conduct. Talking about conflict of interest in particular, the MGA is very clear that it's all about pecuniary interest. It's about financial interest. And it's very difficult to nail down this definition sometimes. So in times that you are faced with specific issues, you have to consult with the CEO or sometimes with your lawyer as to whether that specific issue creates pecuniary interest for you. So in general, that is the code of conduct I start.
Any questions, any comments? Councillor Carrier?
On number 4.0, acceptance of gifts. From time to time, we're asked to go to different activities and they usually give us, like we did at the Roundhouse, they give us a blanket. Is that saying, no, we can't do that in here? Or just more clarification on that one?
I think you're right. This is pretty narrow. And, and I agree, because there were three of us there, we all got a blanket, and I have been in places where we've been given passes to get into the, so I'm really thinking that it should just say no member of council shall solicit and take off the accept, because nobody asks for it. If it's given, I think it's pretty rude to say, well, no, I can't take that. In the spirit of the gift is not to offend the giver.
So if I walk up to you and give you a gift of $10,000?
There should be a limit, I think, and that's a valid point, Councilor Armington.
You can do that. I'm the spirit of the gift.
Empty pockets, but, monopoly money.
Oh, true. Councillor Long.
So I think to address that, there should be maybe a limit, an amount set, so that if somebody receives a group of 7 painting, they would decline.
I would think.
Or a trip to Mexico or whatever the case may be. So there should be a dollar limit that's in place in this bylaw so that it protects the town and also the councillors.
Okay. So do you want to propose an amendment, Councillor Enter or Councillor Long? In place of monetary, shall solicit or accept?
Well, since my friend brought it up first, I'll let him make
Sure. No member of council shall solicit a reward, gift, or benefit of any kind in a monetary value of $100 or more.
So you wanna add it in a monetary value?
You have to define that, some gifts.
I understand, like a blanket, if it's,
Well, I'm thinking that councillors should use their discretion. This is a
Yes.
code of conduct.
but
This
$100 gives an idea, right?
That's
So
right.
if I don't give you 2 tickets to Vegas for a week, it might be more than $100. But if I give you
A bouquet of flowers, I think they should use.
So how much was your blanket valued at? That's what I'm saying, is like you're gonna get gifts that have no monetary value, we're gonna have a hard time putting a monetary value, and some people may say that it's worth more than $100. I just struggled with $100.
You wanna go 250?
I don't know, I just think we're gonna, there's also this level of insulting the gift giver as well, right? Because if we don't say anything, they'll say, I assume that we think their gift is worth $100 or less, and it's a homemade, we're opening up sort of an interesting issue here that I'm not quite certain how to address.
Kelly?
Sometimes some issues are not issues until they are issues. So if it's something that you may want to take out for now, because I don't see it as something that is blatant,
I agree.
right, for now.
For now.
Because if something happens, you can always come back and re-look at the policy, right? So this is just a start.
It's a policy, that's true.
Right,
It's
just
not
a start. Right.
So what he's suggesting is we actually remove that clause and
Deal with it as a,
and deal with it if the occasion arises where
there'll probably be minimal situations where this arises, right?
Or we could look at it that no member of council shall solicit a reward, gift, or benefit of any kind. You could put it as a gift or benefit. Instead of no member, a member of council shall report all gifts to council.
oh yeah, you can put that in.
So that,
So we're aware,
so it's
everyone is aware,
transparent,
it's
it's open, and
transparent.
people understand what they have.
Mhm. Any other comments on that? So that would be your amendment. section, 40, acceptance of gifts, be rewritten to say any gifts,
Or a member of council shall report.
A member of council shall report any reward, gift, or benefit.
Yeah. So remove solicit or accept.
Yeah, should just
Change
report.
no to A.
Okay, did you get that?
We still have a motion.
This is an amendment to that motion.
Are you making the amendment?
Councillor Long is,
Yes.
do you wanna say it again?
Repeat it again. Councillors shall,
A member of council.
a member of council shall report, any gifts, rewards, gifts, which are connected directly or indirectly with the performance of duties of office.
You taking out personally or through family member or friend?
I would just change the no to an A, remove solicit or accept, put report, and the rest of it's good.
Shall report any reward, gift, or benefit of any kind, all the way through.
Yeah, I'd accept that.
Alright.
But now since you've done it, you'll have to read it back to Crystal.
Did you get that, Crystal?
I think, was it just a member of council shall?
Yeah, a member of council shall report
Yeah, I did.
a
get it.
reward, gift, or everything else is the same.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like that. And then we know. If it gets out of hand, then we'll deal with it. Okay, so we have the amendment. You wanna read it back one more time, please?
Moved by Councillor Emter that council amend the council code of conduct policy to read 4.0, a member of council shall report.
And then the rest of it, okay? All in favor? It's carried. Now we have the original motion. And can you read the original, the motion then?
Moved by Councillor Long that council approve the council code of conduct number 612014 as amended to read, a member of council shall report any reward, gift, or, so I can't read the reward, gift, or benefit from of any kind personally or through a family member or friend which is connected directly or indirectly with the performance or duties of office.
All in favor? That's carried. Next item of business, council communication policy. Do you need a motion then, please? Councillor Danaka?
I make a motion to accept, to approve the council communication policy 62-2.2014.
All right. Councillor Rose, any comments?
Not right now, I'm good. I actually
Councillor
read it over
Danaka?
and
Councillor Long? Councillor Emter?
5.1, there's just a double spacing between councils and decision, just a typo. Other than that, I like it.
I don't think you need an amendment, you can just.
No, I'm just mentioning it.
Councillor Carrier?
Just a question on that press release and media, so would that mean that all of our, if we wanted to submit a report to the paper, if we want to go to the
No, this
radio?
would be formal press
Okay,
releases.
sounds good, that's all I need, thank you.
Okay. So, oh, we have a question from the gallery?
No, just
Please.
3.2, it should say at the end of the first line, I think, will be made. This is will made.
Be named, yes.
For pointing out double spaces.
Yeah.
Okay, all then in favor of the motion to accept the policy as presented? It's carried. Next item of business is the municipal development plan and land use bylaw. And could I have a motion then to accept the recommended action, which is basically to move it to to that planning commission. Okay, do you wanna make that motion, Councillor Rose?
Do you know the motion or do you want this?
That's
Yeah.
presented.
As presented.
Okay, Councillor Long, questions?
No, it's very clear.
Councillor Danaka? Councillor Rose? Councillor Emter? Councillor Carrier?
No questions?
Okay, I think this was something that we had said before, it would be better off to let the new committee deal with this. All in favor? This one's carried. We'll now go to number 9, the procedure bylaw. And that was handed out to you. And what page were you specifically talking about,
Page 9,
page 9?
I'd like to delete 16.3.
This is the new one. This is the brand new one?
That's
The newest one? This is the
probably
newest one?
less than that. Yeah, I dropped a copy on your desk.
Then why does this one say so? This is the old one.
Crystal?
06/2013? Is that what it says?
04/2013.
Oh, then it is the old one. Sorry.
Page 9.
But I don't think it was changed before.
But I don't think page 9 is wrong.
16.3 as pointed out in the emails.
That's fine, we can still make reference to it and
Yeah.
and deal with
It
it.
is page 9.
Sorry.
Deal with it.
And it is
This is fine.
16.3.
It's quick. It's the way council's supposed to.
Alright, can you make a motion then, Councillor Emter?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that 16.3 procedural bylaw,
Valerie?
be deleted or removed.
Point of order, Madam Chair. This is a bylaw.
Just a minute, I just, did you get that motion?
Yes.
So it's not it's he's gonna correct us again, like, which is good, thank you, Kelly.
Okay.
The way we should have done, so this is, how do I word it?
This is a bylaw, so you can't make a motion to a bylaw. So a bylaw has to be made to repeal a bylaw.
Okay. So,
So you can have a discussion.
We can have a discussion.
and how do we, so then I have to request that he be directed to make a bylaw to remove bylaw 16.3?
Yeah, but you have to have a discussion of that. Because I need to,
I make a motion that, we direct administration to create a bylaw to remove procedural bylaw 16.3. Yeah, cause
Okay, alright.
he's gonna come back with a bylaw that will set this in motion.
Alright,
Is that correct?
that's fair, yeah.
That's.
yeah, I understand what you're saying. Let's see what she's got this right in the minutes first.
Moved by Councillor Emter that Council direct administration to create a bylaw to remove bylaw 06/2013. Section 16.3.
Yes, thank you.
Alright, okay. And now, my only question is, why does this one not have to be advertised and yet that other one has to be? Is that the golf?
It depends on the severity and the importance to the public, right?
Oh, okay.
This is a,
So this is an administrative type of a matter. So we could go 1, 2, 3 readings at the same meeting and be done
exactly,
with it,
but that's,
once the bylaw is presented.
right.
Okay, so and if you're opening this up for 16.3, this is a good opportunity, if there's anything else here that we wanna talk about, to get it into that bylaw also.
That's true, there's so many things with, to change within this bylaw, so.
We have identified others
Yeah, and we
before
can't-
this,
Yeah, you're right.
so we will be adding other things into this.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you-
alright,
if you
so
want to.
the big one though is the removal of 16.3.
Yeah.
Okay, did anybody
No.
then want Councillor Carrier?
My question is, are we going against the MGA by removing this section? That's my only concern.
Okay,
Okay, go ahead.
Councillor Emter?
Not according to municipal advisors, and multiple municipal advisors, because we all know that you get different opinions from different ones. I'd actually like to make a friendly amendment, to my motion, which I can because it's mine.
Just
And-
withdraw your motion and make a new one. Instead of amendment
Can I
after
just
amendment
add?
after amendment.
Same motion, but I'd like it brought back to the April 9th meeting, please.
Okay, any other comments? And, are you satisfied with the answer?
There is no answer yet.
Okay,
Or
that's
no,
good,
we've
we
heard
got that
from
question
different
still. Counselor Long, Counselor Danaka,
I
Counselor
just want to
Rose?
be clear that we're just bringing this back and we're not making any decision on this.
No, no decision tonight. Okay? Counselor, or Mr. Tomato?
Yeah, maybe my question too, because
Yeah.
is, do you have any rationale behind this so that when I prepare the RFT, I can point to the rationale why you want to remove 16.3?
Yeah, so that council can have a frank and open discussion amongst itself on any topic without worry of affecting employee-council relationships.
Okay?
Okay, and Madam Chair, I would like to advise council that section 2.208, subsection 1 is very clear. But the Chief Administrative Officer must ensure that all minutes of council meetings are recorded in the English language without note or comment. That the names of councillors present at council meetings are recorded, that is tracking whether council has quorum. That the minutes of each council meeting are given to council for adoption at the subsequent council meeting. The presence of administration in meetings is an integral part of the democracy of this country. When we talk about in-camera meetings, we are talking about sensitive matters regarding land, personnel, and labor. And the only people that we shut the doors to are the public. Administration is, by the MPA, has to be at every meeting of council. By removing section 16.3, you are taking one element by which the procedural bylaw allows the CAO as a courtesy to step out for his evaluation every year. What I'm trying to say is that if you take out 16.3, you cannot eliminate administration from the in-camera meetings. Taking out 16.3 does not take out administration from the in-camera meetings. So when you go back to section 201, section 201, subsection 2, a council must not exercise a power or function or perform a duty that is by this or another enactment or bylaw specifically assigned to the chief administrative officer. So when you take out the administration from the in-camera session, how are you going to record the minutes?
You don't record minutes
Because
when
you
you're
make
in camera.
minutes, you make motions to get out of camera. And then I'm just advising.
Yeah.
And the third one, I'm just being very careful because, I mean, trying to take out administration from in-camera to have kumbaya is not a solution to this problem. The third point I want to make clear before you decide to do that is that administration exists to advise and inform council. And we have requests for decisions here that we present to council in camera. What council then is doing is that it's shortchanging itself from the administration's judicious informed decision-making process that will help council come to an informed decision. So I need to advise council on all of this before you decide to take that out.
I agree.
Thank
I
you.
understand what you're saying.
It's a it's a technical
Yes.
matter, but very important. Very, very important to the municipal meeting process, that administration be at every part of the meetings.
Okay. Counselor Long?
I think, being frank and sincere, I think that if we were to look at whenever council or committee meets in camera, the CAO or designate shall be present. An exception is provided when council meets to discuss the CAO or CAO performance and take out annually. Because really, the only issue that we would ever have as council that we would want to meet without that designate or the CAO would be to discuss the CAO. I think I'm being frank about that. So with the terminology of annual performance, that limits us to discuss once. Now, we have a good CAO, but if we come to a decision where we have to, down the road, have another CAO and we want to discuss the performance of that CAO and or his or her dismissal, this limits us, because then we'd have to have a designate there. I think that if we just take out the word annual, that restricts us to what we can use it for, protects us that our CAO or designate would be there for all the other in-camera sessions, but allows us to discuss CAO performance, not just on an annual basis, but on an ongoing basis.
Okay. Councillor Emter, did you have something to say?
Well, I'm curious because when we go in camera, there is no minutes. No notes taken, nothing done. Even the motion to come out of camera, that is taking minutes during the in-camera session, is it not?
The motion to come out takes place after we come out of in-camera.
Okay, so when you're in camera, you can actually be without administration then, because there's nothing taken.
There are no notes, but the advice is available to you.
Right.
Mr. Tamac?
The only motion that is made in camera is the motion to get out of camera. So that motion is made in camera. Okay. The reason why, and this is, there's been recommendations to take out 16.2. This is not the first time, but I need to just provide this advice. And to answer to Councillor Long's situation, the MGA provides that there should be only one annual evaluation of the CAO. So you can't run into a situation in certain counties or certain areas where every week or every 2 weeks somebody wants to go to council to discuss the CAO. That does not augur well for the good running of the county or the town. So I think what the Town of High Prairie did was say, okay, we want to obey the MGA, but just for once, just for one time, when we're doing your annual evaluation, can you please step out? It's just asking for a concession. It does violate the MGA to ask the administration to go out, because they have to be present to give that advice, and they have to be present to take the minutes.
Okay.
So that's
I
just my.
understand what you're saying, but I will also say that in no other business that I have ever been involved in all of my many years, have I ever had to have a frank discussion regarding an employee's performance with the employee sitting there watching. It is not a business-like, and it is not something that I've ever seen in government or outside government. So, and the performance is not once a year. Performance evaluation should be done much more than once a year. If you're in a new position, you're doing it at 3 months, you're doing it at 6 months, and you're usually doing it then even at 9 months if the person is still on probation. So again, the suggestion of an annual is ludicrous to say that no, you have to be sitting there listening as different people present their different opinions as to what is the person's evaluation of their work. And you just cannot function in this manner in any logical business or administration or government manner. You just don't do it. But Councillor Emter, you had something else to say?
Just a comment that actually any one of the councillors can record the minutes.
Okay. Mr. Tomaco?
I will state to you that that's a function of the CAO, and section 201 subsection 2 is clear about that you shall not perform the function of the CAO. And if you want to take the minutes.
Okay, well, 2081, the CAO officer must ensure that all minutes of council meetings are recorded in the English language. That doesn't mean you yourself take them, or you yourself appoint someone to take them. So council could go into camera, council can take the minutes as long as it's in the English language, without note or comment. If you want, I'll come to the office tomorrow, we can call and talk to Desiree or Nevin or
Okay.
whoever.
All right, so now this is coming
That's
back
the
again.
discussion I
So
have.
the discussion is, and we know about it, so do we want to pursue this still, or do we want to move on as one of the items to be brought back?
Just want to make a quick comment.
Yes?
Again. when we talk about the function of the CEO and administration and saying councillors can do that, I mean, that is violating the MGA. I mean, it's a naked violation of the MGA to start asking councillors to take minutes.
Well, that was just a point he made, but the fact is, what the main discussion here is about is the wish of council, as you are our only employee, and we would be, that again is what we would be talking about, and council does not wish to discuss employee performance with the employee sitting there. And that is the basis, I believe, of our whole discussion here. Now, you can, Councillor Emter has been investigating this thoroughly. It is now, the procedure bylaw is now coming back for various revisions, but this is the main one that has been asked for since February. So let's look again, what is the motion that is on the floor?
Moved by Councillor Emter that Council direct administration to create a bylaw to remove section 613 of the procedural bylaw 06/2013 and to be brought back for council consideration at the April 9th, 2014 regular meeting of council.
16.3.
That's what it is, yeah.
Oh, I thought it said
Could I make a friendly amendment that any other concerns of the procedure bylaw also be forwarded to administration at this point? Because if we're opening up this bylaw, we should be all looking at everything. And I don't think there's anything else, but if there is, this is the opportunity. Because this is not something that we should be going back and forth on and on. Yes, Councillor Rowe?
I agree with you that if there's something else, we should bring that forward. But I just have a question to you, Quentin, about the intent of this. So if we take it out, potentially then every council meeting, we could ask him to step out and we can discuss
It would have to be on the agenda.
without a time frame, like I sort of listening to what Michael has to say about that, and I'm a little bit worried about what we're like taking it right out without any parameters may open up sort of a negative can of worms that it can go. Every meeting can become an opportunity to ask him to step out. Right? Is that potentially how you see that could go though with no?
in a completely negative way, anything is possible. Right? The intent is though that if you want to have a meeting, you plan a meeting, that the CEO or designate doesn't have to be there if you're going to talk about the CAO.
So you would list it on the agenda as a personnel item. The CEO, as our employee, would be saying, what is this about? I want to talk about the performance of the CAO. Fine. You would have to say what it is you want to talk about, so therefore, acceptance of the agenda means that yes, we will be talking about performance. But again, yes?
And I understand our CEO's concern. I truly do. But I think the mayor said it best is if we have down the road a council that has a new CAO and they have a 3-month evaluation, they're still hesitant, they take it to a 6-month evaluation, which is quite feasible, then they wouldn't be able to do so without the CAO having to be there. They wouldn't be able to have that frank discussion because it's only annually. So I think that if the word annual comes out, then it allows future councils down the road to have that freedom to discuss frankly and honestly and openly without feeling
Timid, whatever.
intimidated or timid or
Intimidated is good.
or you know,
Yep.
to discuss that CAO's particular performance. But I understand where you're coming from. I do, and I respect it, but I think the word annual needs to come out, that's all.
So you feel we can't have a frank conversation about performance with the CAO in the
We're
meeting?
lucky that we have a CEO where we could, but what happens if you have, and I've seen CAOs that are overbearing, that are arrogant, that are mean-spirited, then what? And then you have a new council comes on and they're just like, okay, probably not the best way to have it, is to restrict yourself to a annual review. It protects the town, it ensures a continuation and a continuity in the performance evaluation, and it allows the council to make those hard decisions should that time come.
Okay. So,
But I know you think I'm.
we will, we have the motion, and I have a friendly amendment to that motion to allow other councillors to place other items on there. Do you wish to speak to the amendment?
I wish to speak before you amend.
Okay?
Okay, I'm reading from, communication with Colin Duke, sorry. On October 1st, 1999, section 197.2 of the MJ was repealed and replaced with the following: councils and council to close all or part of their meetings to the public if a matter discusses with one of the exceptions to disclosure in Division 2, Part 1 of the Freedom of Information and Privacy Act. Councils and committees can make a motion to go in camera when the substantive deliberations relate to matters, etc. FOIP, to go and talk to personnel. What I'll do is I'll forward this communication to all of the councillors as to why in the background, and just show that it's not against the MGA.
Alright.
And
And I'll forward it to the CAO
I have
also.
it, I have it.
The communication that you call in tonight?
I do. I have it.
Okay? Alright, anything else? Yes?
Okay.
One more? Okay, so the amendment is, could you read back the amendment, please?
To include, that council bring forward any other amendments?
Any other amendments to the procedure bylaw that they wish to have discussed? Would that be all right with your, yes?
So as it stands now, is it still reading that we are taking 16.3 out in its entirety?
Mm-hmm.
And so, do we have an amendment on the floor?
You're gonna get one more chance, because when he brings it back, you can still amend it again.
But if this is taken out,
That'll be gone, but you can put it back in again. Because what they're doing is, we're all putting in any other amendments that we find that we want to discuss. And he's bringing it back to the floor, and we will get another chance to discuss this, putting it back in, rewording it, whatever. Councillor Actor is forwarding more information, may change your mind, may not. You may wish to vote against it.
having 16.3 taken out in its entirety, if I would be opposed to it, but if we would take out the word annual, then that I think meets the intent of what Councillor Hunter is looking at. So I would like to put forward an amendment to that, to just leave 16.3 in, but take out the word annual.
And do you have, does, Councillor Hunter have to accept that amendment, or does it just get voted on?
Thanks.
Oh, okay. So now we will vote then on,
Do you want to just, because Councillor Emter approves all the amendments, does he just wanna withdraw his motion and make a motion with all of the amendments included in it, and then you just vote on his motion?
Procedure bylaw provides for withdrawal, because it's so confusing now.
Yep.
So you
Yeah,
can
I withdraw my
withdraw it
motion.
and then remake it succinctly so that you know exactly what you want to do.
good idea, thank you.
I withdraw my motion. I'd like to make a new motion that, procedural bylaw number, what is it, 06/2013, 16.3, that we remove the word annual in the second sentence.
And that the bylaw be brought back
For the April 9th.
with any other suggested amendments from councillors.
Okay, so the actual motion will have to be the direct administration to present a bylaw on April 9th, council meeting, regular council meeting.
Do you want me to read what I've got?
Yes.
Sounds great.
Moved by Councillor Emter that Council direct administration to create a bylaw to remove the word annual from section 16.3 of the procedural bylaw 06/2003, and council forward any other amendments to procedural bylaw 06/2013 to administration, and to be brought forward for council consideration at the April 9th, 2014 regular meeting of council.
Alright. Okay, all in favor? That's carried. Next item of business is the Public Works Report. And Mr. Walker.
Good evening, council. I think the report is pretty self-explanatory, and I'm open to questions, other than the fact that the gallery did point out a typo, that we did not clean out storm drains from the hospital parking.
Oh, I can see why you burst into laughter.
And I apologize for that.
We thought that was pretty good.
Oh, well, there was an excess of brains, was there?
There could have been, I'm not sure.
Okay, has anybody got any questions, Councillor Tanaka?
I have two. Put up signs and brackets for WJ office in the Roosters building. What is that office?
I'll
What
have
is
to get
WJ?
clarification unless Kelly knows, because that was part of Brian's. And that would have been done the week that I was gone, and I have not been aware of this, so I would have to get clarification on that.
I'm just curious as to what WJS stands for.
It's a person's name. It's a company that does, counseling for, low income
Oh, okay, okay.
people, or, it's a social
Okay.
type of organization.
Okay, my second question on the back page, worked on the Zamboni for the rec board. Does that get billed to the rec board?
That is under CSRs, which is customer service requests, and there will be an invoice going to the rec board.
And the last thing I had, at the last, I believe it was the last council meeting we had regarding the, work to be done on 49th Street.
Yeah.
There was some question about what the optional items were that were removed.
The optional items was the area south of 51st Avenue towards the railroad tracks. There was a little bit of paving to be done there, and we'll do that ourselves.
That was the only optional.
Yeah, and there was a hydrant that we had in the original contract that we took out because we replaced the hydrant at the Treasure Branch because it was damaged.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Carrier?
I've got a few questions. What is the distance measuring equipment at the airport?
That was a GPSing thing that we had arranged, I think, with Nav Canada, that now they've got the information they need, we could decommission it and send it back to them.
Okay, second question, advertise the bare land at the airport for lease. I thought we had said during our grant meetings there that that would be part of the food bank, but I don't see anything in the paper stating that whoever farms the land has to make a donation to the food bank with their profits. So is that just being admitted, or are we not doing it?
Or are we giving the cash?
How is this being worked? Cause that's what we had stated, that that land plus that other land would be for the food bank.
West Industrial.
That there would, the cash would, if it was the same lease agreement, would be used as the Kenny Stewart, or with whoever got that, as it is with David Zablotnik.
Okay.
We understand council wants that money to go towards the food bank from the motion that was made. So it may flow through our books and be a donation through that way.
So it's just a making sure that we use the same lease.
Yes.
Okay, the body of the same lease, okay.
And my final question, municipal districts of Big Lakes released 53rd Ave contract and closed March 26th. What is that? Okay.
It's the sewer line at the hospital. We're piggybacking on the MD Big Lakes big contract to have that installed. And I was gonna address that. The contract now closes April the 12th, which is closer to the hospital 39th Street closing. So hopefully the dollar figure will come down if the same person gets both jobs.
Thank you.
Councillor Hampton?
In discussion with the school division last night, they sold a piece of land, or they extended the road allowance, I guess, is what it it sounded like, along 53rd Ave, from where they're going to build their new property. And that the MD said they would stub in lines and sewer and everything for them automatically. And I asked them to clarify that, because I was wondering how the MD would tie into our sewer lines on their behalf.
That is part of the contract. It makes sense to service their property.
Right.
Prior to it being paved. Now,
Oh, yeah,
we
no,
can still charge, if the school division was tying onto that, we could still charge a hookup fee to it.
See, their understanding is once it's stubbed in, that it's just, they can tie in and away we go. So, they
Yeah.
may be calling you for clarification?
Yeah, sure.
Cause I brought it up at the meeting saying, like, get
They're
this
still
done.
gonna be accessing our
Yeah,
mains, right? And that's basically, once the MD paid to do that, it's becoming part of our infrastructure.
yeah. And the other question I had was, this report itself, is this like, the regular little things, what I would like to see is just unusual info.
Okay.
Brought forward. I don't know if council wants to see, like trim trees when there's time or things of that nature on the report, or if you wanna see things of the NAV Canada, the unusual stuff.
How long does it take to do this report?
It doesn't take very long. We document everything we do every day.
I would like the way it is.
Okay.
Okay.
It gives council an idea of everything that we do. I know there's several new councillors here, and it also gives you a picture for the public that this is what we're doing. As well, I'll just make a mention as well that as soon as it gets above zero during the day, the street sweeper will be able to start cleaning up everything from the winter sanding programs. It's just the street sweeper has small little water lines on it that will freeze if it's below zero.
Okay, any other questions?
Not a
Alright.
question, but maybe just a comment, and I mentioned to Kelly, I talked to the CAO from the MD, today actually, and he wanted to come in tomorrow morning at 9 to discuss the road, and I'm thinking that it may be this Kelly, so.
What room?
53rd, cause we were just discussing that with the school division last night.
Oh,
There's an issue with the sewer and that got brought up last night, and I think that the school division was concerned that that may not have been addressed, so.
I know the MD will be seeking after the contract closes, a letter of acceptance from the town that we're gonna commit to our portion of it, whatever the tender is as well, before they award. But that will come back to council at a future meeting before it's ever, it'll probably be the April 23rd meeting, that's something will be coming back to council.
okay, I have two questions. One is regarding, citizen that called me, Mr. Earl Auger, and, actually in the last year, he's called me 2 or 3 times regarding trying to get a crosswalk between Fields and Super A on the highway.
That is a transportation issue.
That is true, it is a transportation issue, but there is a lot of jaywalking, and there has been accidents there too,
Yeah.
haven't there?
We can approach and write a letter to transportation, but I don't think that will go far. They don't want people crossing there, that's basically the thing, but we can do a letter to transportation.
I'm not sure if the letter is what we're looking for, but Councillor Carrier?
It's not that far to walk up to the street light. I'd rather see us, ask our administration to have the peace officers actually start ticketing those jaywalkers there, because there has been lots of accidents there, and that is quite a concern actually. They should be actually taking care of it, and it's not that far to walk up to the lights or walk around. It's a half block.
Okay. A light in the middle would it be, feasible for transportation, or would they pretty well say no?
When the transportation paved 53rd Avenue, they wanted to get rid of all accesses off of the highway. So I would think that, in my opinion, that transportation would not be in favor of putting a crosswalk or a light there.
Okay. Again, I referenced the number of accidents of the people that have been jaywalking there and it appears that it is a concern. It should be a safety concern.
I can discuss that with, members of transportation over the phone and see get their thoughts on that.
Could you do that?
Yeah.
Mr. Auger probably would
Okay.
be more than happy with that. Okay, and then I have another one, and this one regards the town office staff and the public works staff. I had a call from Miss Tracy Padden, who injured herself stepping out of her vehicle at Marigold. The cap on the clean out drain was off and has been off for quite a while. She pulled her vehicle up, her truck, and it was a high truck. When she got out, she's a short woman, her leg went into the pipe and she fell and damaged her leg quite a lot. I'm surprised she didn't break it, but because there's no give on that pipe. Your leg's gonna break, or I think she fell back against her truck and was able to extricate herself. She came to the town office, and the town office basically, as she said, brushed her off and said, go back to Marigold and wait for public works staff to come. And the public works staff that came did not identify themselves as to who they were. And I think that was what bothered her the most, is they just drove up in a town truck, got out and said, gee, what happened? Well, Marigold should have told us the cap was off, and he proceeded to put the cap on and drive away. That, I think, was her major concern, was that there was no identification of the staff person, and then nothing to say, are you all right, or anything like that. And I think that between the town office brushing her off and saying, just go back to Marigold, we'll see what we can do. And I'm thinking, I don't know, do we keep track of when people come and complain?
I'll give you an example. There was a lady about 2 weeks ago, was coming into the town office and she fell. So when I came in, I was told. We kept track of the lady until she went to the hospital. After she came out, we bought a card and we signed the card and sent it to her. I'm not aware of this situation, and if somebody was aware, they should have made me aware immediately so that I could have reacted. I'm very sensitive to human situations like this, and as I speak about it, I'm a little unhappy because it shouldn't wait till we come to a council meeting before I hear about it. Whether a councillor knows about it or whether an employee knows about it, I should know about it so that I can address it accordingly.
I think maybe could your staff here perhaps log some of these? Mr. Walker?
All the complaints that come in are put onto a complaint form, or should be being put onto the complaint form, and then it's forward and documented, and then it's contained in a binder with a follow-up to it. This is the first I've heard of this situation as well. I don't know whether the employee in the office just phoned somebody at Public Works directly. I'm gonna have to check into that.
Yeah, could you check into it then? And I would.
Yeah, I would like to look into it because, given the example I gave again, I went straight to to Alan, and I said, Alan, I want to look at the TV monitor. I stood there for 30 minutes and got a recording to make sure of what happened, and made sure it was recorded. Made sure the woman was called 3 or 4 times that day. She was sent to the Grand Prairie Hospital. After that, we bought a card, sent a card to her to express how deeply sorry we are. Brought in Tim Stokes to make sure that he put salt on his side. So if I know about things like this, I will react immediately because that's the kind of person I am. These things should not be left 1 minute, 2 minutes past what we should. We're dealing with human beings.
Well, actually, I will get you the lady's phone number, and you can phone her tomorrow.
You should hear from me.
Good.
Truly apologize to her.
All right then. So those were the only 2 items. Yes, Councillor Emter?
What about our esteemed gentleman, Norman LaRue?
Oh, yes.
I've documented his address, and I will be going there tomorrow to have a look and see what the issues are.
Thank you, Mr. Lillard. All right. Actually, I know that he approached us in the wrong manner, and I know that he interrupted our meeting, but won't take the time to come, and so, you know, I mean, I certainly think it was a rough and ready approach, but at least it was an approach. So, I don't mind dealing with people that come in and have a complaint. All right, can we have, yes, Councillor
I'm
Garrett?
just gonna make a motion to accept the public works report for information.
And are there any other questions? All in favor? It's carried. Okay, the next one is, thank you very much for attending, Mr. Walker, even though you had lots of brains to get rid of.
Just can't dispose of them.
The next item is the Community Services Municipal Sustainability Committee. Now, these are 3 committee appointments that were made. Yes, Councillor Empton.
I'd like to make a motion so we can discuss.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Lori Matthews, Ron Rose, and Vivian Torrens to the Municipal Sustainability Committee.
I actually wanted to deal with all 3 of these in one motion, but let's go with that then. Okay, all right, so we'll go with that one. That's the first one. Are there any discussion or anything?
Can I get the names again, please?
Vivian Torrens, Ron Rose, and Lori Matthews.
And it's the Municipal Sustainability Plan Committee, and that is the recommendation that was made, and you can see the votes. Any questions?
For the discussion, it would be helpful for the people at home if we explain exactly what we're doing here, because it's gonna be fairly lengthy discussions, I think. And,
Oh, I don't think so, because you see, we discussed this at the last meeting. And this was how we arrived at how we chose the people. So, your kick at the cat has been cut. However, please say something if you would like, because the motion is on the books, and,
I think that the committee that we're talking about right now is well structured. I think it's, there'll be a dynamic group of individuals. I wish that we had more people from the public, putting their names in.
I agree.
They're very important to the community, and the input from the public is essential on these items.
And this is a 1-year appointment? 1-year appointment, and one of the things that we had discussed last time is that we would have an ad that is better descriptively of what this committee does, so that people, when they're putting their names in, can say why they want to be on it, rather than just, oh, by the way, so-and-so is interested too. So, all right, so do you have anything else on this one?
No.
Any other questions on this one? And we have the motion that is the same as the recommended actions. All in favor? And this one is carried. Do we have a motion for the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board? I don't see anybody making motions.
Can I ask a question before the motion?
Certainly.
Just in the agenda, I see 2 names are crossed off. Gord Olson and Ron Rose's names have been crossed off the agenda. I get an explanation as to why, please.
On that is on the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board.
Yes, it is.
It's because they were already recommended for another board, and they can't be on the subdivision, board, or what is it, municipal planning and subdivision, and the appeal board.
Is that the reason?
Yeah,
Because people, sorry.
Mr. Tamaco?
the municipal planning commission makes decisions about land, and the appeal board listens to any appeals that come. So you can't have one person sitting on both boards.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will make the motion. The council appoint Mike Coulter, Lisa Pashko, and Ross Berger to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board effective immediately. Any discussion? Yes, Councilor Tanaka?
Regarding this board and the next one, I don't know if you received my email that I had sent out regarding, I had talked to municipal affairs regarding, the, MD residents sitting on town boards, and, generally not, is what I was told, unless you're sitting on an intermunicipal board. She said that we should define, like, strengthen our bylaw, so it's strictly town. So if you go by that, that would exclude somebody that's named to this list.
Which one?
Lisa Pashko.
Oh, okay. She lives in the MD?
As far as I know, she lives with Gord and he lives in the MD.
Well, then wouldn't it exclude Gord also on the next one?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is we're discussing this one and the next one.
But our bylaw does not say that.
Our bylaw doesn't say that, but.
And if we don't allow this,
So I don't know where we go from here.
we could wait, change the bylaw, and, next time around. Mr. Tamaco?
Madam Mayor, I think we can get advice from every quarter that we can. I mean, there's so many advices, plenty everywhere. But we have to be careful to make sure that we go strictly by our bylaws and our policies. They are made for the town and they have to be respected. So I'm going to say, regardless of whatever advice we get, we always have to make references to the bylaws that we have developed and the policies that we have developed and look to them for guidance.
And I think basically what Municipal Affairs was saying is you haven't developed very good policies or bylaws. Right?
Pardon me?
We haven't developed very good ones, because we don't.
She said we need to tighten our bylaws, because it
Exactly.
doesn't define who can and cannot sit.
Yeah, and that's basically what we're saying. Hector?
In fairness to Mr. Tamaco, he didn't develop them.
No, I know,
He's
but-
here now, but he can further develop them when given an opportunity. In speaking, there was a previous committee, the Economic Development Committee. There were 2 MD applicants for it in the past. Both were declined because they were from the MD and it was a town committee. In speaking with the MD, their bylaws don't designate that it has to be an MD resident. However, none of their committees have any town residents. They have MD residents only. It's just that's their preference.
Or that's who applies.
Yeah, I'm just stating
Were
facts.
you not the one that brought this to our attention, at the last meeting on the 12th, that said that you had actually talked to Municipal Affairs?
No, well, I did afterwards,
Talked to
yes,
Given
and I did
Parliament,
send
and
an
he
email,
said that-
because I wanted to clarify and find out.
Because that went forward with the approval of everybody who put their name forward based on the ad that ran, asking for public members, right? Is that how it read?
General public.
General public. And was it not you that said that you spoke to Municipal Affairs, the same office that you called, and talked to a counselor, same person, and he said that based on our bylaw, that it could be MD or it can be town, and we approved it at that meeting, right? Or is that not my understanding of how things went down?
Well, actually, I think it was about 11:30 that night.
So the time is
that
relevant?
Well, it is relevant because, we still had a lot of the agenda to go through, and at that point, everybody was kinda sitting there like, what are we gonna do, what are we gonna do? And Linda said, well, okay, people pick your top 3 candidates, send an email.
I guess I just want
telling-
clarity on, did you get a different message from Municipal Affairs? Because I understood that somebody brought that forward. Was it somebody different than you?
No, I brought it forward, but I thought I did it through an email. I'm not sure if I did it before the 12th date or
Okay,
before
so
that date.
what we're saying
But I
is,
did.
does it matter to us now? Or are we going to go forward for this year, October,
For 1 year.
1 year from now?
Yeah.
1 year from now, with the people that are here, or are we not going to go forward with the people that are here?
My opinion, I don't think we have an option because we did make a ruling on the last meeting as to who would be allowed to put their name forward. We had the opportunity to look at all the letters of reference or
Well-
letters of intent at that point, and we said, yes,
We
we
took the
will look-
names, I don't think that the letters of intent were very good.
But we did discuss whether they could be MD, whether they could be
Yes.
town, and we did say that would be fine,
Okay.
right? And so we didn't call those people and say, we're not considering you.
No, we didn't do that.
And we advertised,
And we
we
should've-
advertised based on our,
If you didn't want the MD, you shouldn't have voted for the person. Basically, that's the way I
or
looked at it.
discussed it at the previous meeting where the
Well, you
topic
shouldn't
came
have
up.
voted for it if you didn't agree. And 5 people agreed that Ms. Pashko is a legitimate.
I worry the message that we send if we're sort of going against what we said at that last meeting, as well as, was there not committees, like, what committee was, Lori Key part of?
I don't know, but I know she applied for the economic development and was turned down.
I think she was on some committee for the town. I guess I'm looking at a past that I knew that there were some MD people on town committees,
She's on
or what I
economic
thought were town
development.
committees. Does anybody know? Yeah.
She was part of the committee, economic development. She was-
I'll double check,
Yeah,
but I was
yeah,
told,
quite remember.
she applied, she was told no.
I could be wrong, but I
The
saw
first
her at the
time.
meetings.
She
Yeah.
may have attended.
No, as a member, with one of them,
The second year.
the second year.
Were they part of the committee?
Mhm.
And they were on it, and they were in the MD, right? Okay, so they were, I mean, it just, like, I was looking at that as well when we made those decisions, but it was based on actually your conversation that you sort of brought forward, that you spoke to
And then our bylaws, it was basically the same answer. It's that it's not defined by our bylaws. It was not defined in the advertisement or whatever. I didn't even read the advertisement, but it's, we need to define the committee, who's the general public at large.
Are you going to do that now, or are you going to do it in a year? Do you want to appoint these for 6 months and have a 6-month term?
I think since we haven't even had a name forward in 2 years, that it would be sort of timely to just go forward and with what we advertised for, what we
Let's
basically
go
said.
until October.
Do a year.
October is when everything changes around. Let's go until October. We should have the new terms of reference. We're gonna be advertising for members at large again anyways. October is a good time to do it. Yes.
The only problem is if they start a piece of work, that number of months doesn't mean that any committee.
This is the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board.
Are you
I
going
don't
to-
think they're gonna be starting a bunch of work.
No, I'm just saying, are you going to then say each committee is going to go 4 months, 6 months, 8 months? The general term has been 1 year.
I think 6 months and we can figure out this at the end of 6 months. And we can get better descriptions as to what the body is expected to do.
Just one comment or question, did we advertise for 1 year or did we?
It's 1 year.
Well, even if you advertise for 1 year, you can still do it for 6 months. Please read the motion.
Well, I actually think we should be grateful for the names that were brought forward. I would disagree with one of your nominations. I would rather see Mike Poulter, Lisa Pasco, and Jeff Berger on this committee.
This is the Subdivision and Appeal Board.
Yes, it is, yep. We had, the recommended action was that Mike Poulter, Lisa Pasco, and it's either Jeff or Ross Berger to be there, and I'd rather see Jeff Berger than
That was just based on
Okay.
votes.
And the
Ross
reason,
Berger, yep.
and the reason that I chose Ross was because on the next one, the Municipal Planning Commission, which is to me a more active board, I would like to replace Gord Olson with Jeff Berger because Gord Olson is already on.
Nothing.
No, he's on this, what is he on?
He's not on any.
Oh, he's not on any, but Gord and, I believe Gord Olson and Ron Rosen, I could be wrong, are they not in business together? Are they not working in the same real estate office?
They are.
And would that not be a kind of a, perceived as a conflict in the sense that here we have two people in a business that are both on the Municipal Planning Commission?
No different than 2 councillors working for the Town of High Prairie.
Well, I think
Same
a lot of
interest.
difference because they're elected, these ones are appointed. Mr. Tamaco?
The committee members tend to follow the same rules as the council members, so anything to do with conflict of interest will be related to pecuniary conflict of interest.
Okay. All right. I have a motion forward. I understand what you're all saying. You can vote on this motion, you can oppose, you can accept it or defeat it. It's, I just have the motion. So let's move forward on it. Could you please read it out?
Moved by Mayor Cox that council appoint Mike Poulter, Lisa Pashko, and Ross Berger to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board effective immediately.
Okay, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. So the next one, the last one, is the Municipal Planning Commission. And I guess I'm gonna get this grayed out because then you can I move that we appoint James Wakel, Ron Rose, and Jeff Berger to the Municipal Planning Commission effective immediately. Is Ron Rose already on one?
Yeah, it was on the first.
Then I made a mistake there. It was not, I want Gord Olson there. I had it written on my other one, already on municipal sustainability. So my motion is James Wakel, Gord Olson, and Jeff Berger to the Municipal Planning Commission. That's my motion. Conversation now, or discussion. Councillor Enter?
Kelly, can you tell me the Municipal Planning Commission, what is its role?
The Municipal Planning Commission is just another body that deals with land planning. The same role that the director of the development officer does is the role that the Municipal Planning Commission does in terms of land planning, development permits. So there are areas, there are thresholds where over and above that the development officer cannot perform those duties. It's assigned within the land use bylaw that the Municipal Planning Commission will do. But it's all about land use planning.
They deal with drug control and.
Yeah,
This is what we refer to
bylaw.
rent control to.
And what we're gonna do with the West End
Yep.
lot
Yeah, land
land.
use.
That
And
will
we have
go-
terms of.
So on a
Councillor Enter, one more time.
on a general basis and not on a specific basis, so.
Yeah.
My question, and I'll be frank, is if I'm a developer and I'm coming to town and I'm looking at some property to develop, do I deal with this commission?
I have to look at the land use, because the land use bylaw gives myself as the development officer a certain threshold, and then gives the Municipal Planning Commission another threshold. So we have to go back to land use bylaw to know exactly where the threshold ends.
No.
But it's all about planning.
Councillor Long?
No.
And I think my concern is, and I stated it at the last meeting, is I'm opposed to direct control, period. It's bad for business, it serves certain interests, but it also allows for, it allows for inconsistencies in how certain businesses get dealt with, or people coming and approaching. So, basically, Domino's Pizza. There's no reason in the world why Domino's Pizza shouldn't have been allowed to come in and set up shop here. Direct control, no, can't come in and get enough pizza joints, is how I've been interpreted over and over again. And I could be wrong, but I believe that strong bylaws, strong zoning bylaws are the way to go. Direct control, in talking with different developers in town and ones that want to come to town, don't like direct control. I think it's bad for business. And so if we have individuals on the commission who are in favor of direct control, for me personally, that creates an unnecessary conflict, I think, because I won't be happy with the decisions if they're supporting direct control and basing their decisions on their support of direct control.
You sound like you're stacking your committee.
I'm making,
An observation.
I'm making an observation, and
I agree.
and if council as a whole is in favor of direct control, then I'm out of the loop on it. But I think, from what I've heard in the past discussions, that direct control may not necessarily be the best thing for the town.
Okay. Mr. Tomaco?
Yeah, the purpose of the Municipal Planning Commission is to act as a development authority as specifically authorized under the terms of the Town of High Prairie's land use bylaw, and B, to advise council of any planning related matter that the commission determines should be brought forward for council's review and or action. So that's in general terms, and then the land use bylaw specifies more what the Municipal Planning Commission should do.
Now, Councillor.
Thanks. My concern and worry is that if you have someone that's gonna be excusing themselves for a pecuniary interest on a regular basis, why put that person on the committee?
I don't think so. I agree with what you're saying, that would not be, but he put his name forward, both Mr. Rose and Mr. Olson, as assuming that they would not be in pecuniary interest, otherwise they wouldn't have put their name forward.
As well as they're both licensed by, under sort of, governed,
Real estate ethics.
Real Estate Act, that
Okay.
says that they can't do that, right? They can't put themselves in that situation. If anything, we're probably more protected by having people
Okay.
with licenses on those committees, because they do, when they recognize that they're in that situation, they have to step out. I mean, it's unfortunate, but.
I didn't finish talking yet.
Oh,
Before
I'm
you
sorry,
started.
and I
No,
just
no,
responded.
I was talking, and I was still saying, these are the three reasons, the three people why I made this motion. Number one, James Wakel is a former councillor. He was here through many years of direct control. He has a lot of background in the land use and that. Gord Olson is a real estate, in real estate. He would know what is needed in this town. He would give us a good, a broad view of the land use, what could be used, what we could do, whatever. Jeff Berger, another former councillor, he was involved in the development of the West End subdivision. He again has extensive experience in the development of land, and I think that these three together would be a very good resource for us to move forward on municipal planning. So that's why I made the motion for those three specifically. Now what would you like to say about your ethics? The ethics, you were talking about.
No, I was mostly finished with that part of the conversation, but I do think that another part of this, and that maybe this one needs to, have some future consideration, and maybe we can't make a decision, because we also are dealing with, when you're saying you're putting Jeff's name forward, he actually made an offer to purchase on land that we will actually put on the table to discuss with this committee, right?
What's that got to do with municipal planning?
Can he buy land that he's involved in municipal planning? Like, how can we go forward with the developer? We're saying we're worried about a realtor that might sell the land, maybe, and make a commission, but we're not concerned by putting names forward of a commercial developer, that potentially could make a decision to subdivide this way, or to make a plan that sort of.
So you're saying that.
So and then.
So somebody
and then
has made
well,
an
I
offer?
think at the forum, I thought Jeff was the one who came forward
He
and
did,
said,
he never got a reply.
But so you're saying he did or he did not make an offer on this land?
He said at the forum, and he came here and said again, and he said, I have never received a reply from the town.
And he said he withdrew the offer.
Mr. Tamaco said.
Regardless, I'm just saying, there's an obvious interest in development of this, there's an obvious interest in development and in purchasing it. And then I say, was there any, development plan put forward? What are we gonna see on this land?
Pecuniary interest is
So
covered by
there's
your-
lots of you know what I mean? I'm almost more worried because there's no code of ethics and there's no real estate act governing a developer, or an independent developer who's not attached to, a license. So, I mean, if we're gonna put all the attention on that, I think we should be concerned a little bit about this, as well as if we take a look at the votes. We have 6 votes for Gord, and we have 6 votes for Ron, and we have 4 votes for James, and we have 2 votes for Jeff. Just draw attention to that fact as well. There was a reason why, and this was this council that voted, right?
Okay, Mr. Tamaco and then Councillor Donato.
Yeah, it's tough to go into the individuals, but I think you set up a process as a council to be able to choose for this commission. The process was determined by yourselves, and I think you have to respect the process. These discussions would have happened before you set up the process.
We did discuss it extensively, and we were deadlocked. Councillor Donato.
The only thing that I have to say regarding this is, at their last council meeting, the motion was that we would put our names forward and the top 3 would be the ones that would be there. According to that motion, the top 3 in this particular one are Gord, Ron, and James.
Okay. I only made the motion, and I told you why I made that motion, with these 3 strong people, that I think we would get the most out of it. So, if there's no other discussion regarding the motion, I would then call for a vote. All those, could you read the motion back, please?
Moved by Mayor Cox that council appoint James Wakel, Jeff Berger, and Gord Olson to the Municipal Planning Commission effective immediately.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Defeated. Okay, someone please make another motion. Councillor Carrier.
I make a motion that council appoints James Waco, Ron Rose, and Gord Olson to the Municipal Planning Commission effective immediately.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? You have to vote.
You do discuss it.
No, I was still reading,
Carried.
I was still thinking,
Nope.
doesn't matter.
It's for 1 year, unless anybody wants to make a motion that's only for 6 months, but I don't think so. All right. The next item of business is the Big Lakes Family and Community Support Services.
Lowering
No,
the flags.
I'm sorry, it is, where are we? Community Services Lowering the Flag. It's the amendment. And would anybody like to make a motion on this? Councillor Carrier?
I make a motion that we go with the recommended action that council approve the lowering of all the Town of High Prairie flags and memory of the late Mark Cuthbert on the day of his funeral as requested by the Cuthbert family.
Any discussion on this? All in favor? Carried. They haven't decided yet, that's what the email says on the second page, as far as I know. The date has not been, and will be forwarded when it is, I gather, good? Okay. Next item of business is now the staff and CO written report.
Okay, so my report, what I've tried to do in this report is try to answer some of the questions you brought forward, the unsightly sites, the issue about the fire department, all of those have been addressed there. The strategic planning has been scheduled for April 15th. I had a staff meeting to review some of the processes. We have a new tax clerk who's doing well. The mayor's purpose, I think most of the information has been provided by the mayor in her report, but we did have a separate CEO session where we did talk about complaints against the RCMP, and my background as a commissioner was very useful because all of they're trying to exemplify what we do in Alberta because the Alberta system is so good. Agenda addition request procedure 16.3, I tried to discuss the relationship between government and administration. I've laid that down there for anybody to read. The other agenda items that was brought forward by the mayor, I've included them here so that we can discuss them and make decisions regarding the booking hotel rules for AUMA 2014. When we talk about that, Madam Mayor.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, did you send out the listing that I gave you for the hotel rooms?
I didn't get that.
Well, the AUMA convention rooms for Edmonton in October,
Yeah.
are all booked. Well, they're booking fast. We've already sold out on one, so I would suggest that, we be booking our rooms if we're going to be at a decent hotel. The 3 that are within walking distance, because it's at the convention center, are Fairmont Hotel McDonald, the West Inn, and the Delta Edmonton Center.
Fairmont, McDonald?
Fairmont Hotel McDonald,
Yeah.
the West Inn,
Weston?
and the Delta Edmonton Center.
Okay, so those are the 3.
Those are the 3. So, can anybody say whether or not at this point they will be going? How many rooms do you want to book
What's the dates?
for the AUMA?
AUMA normally.
It's
Oh.
February, it's in September when you don't have an election year, right? Is that what it is?
I believe it's October.
Yeah.
In November in election days.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's attended by all council normally.
Yeah, no,
so.
for sure. We
So
should
how
book
many
a
rooms?
block of rooms.
It starts on
regardless.
September the 24th,
September.
It is September.
and it goes to Friday the 26th.
That's regular council meeting.
Yep. So we won't be doing the council meeting that week.
But that's Wednesday, when we don't have to be there.
Yeah, you have to, it starts Wednesday.
So
So
you're
you're
just concerned
going
about
to-
the rooms now, just to book the rooms, okay.
Yeah, just
that's
book the
fine.
rooms.
That's fine.
So we would need,
So that's fine. We'll take care of that, administration.
okay?
I'm not booking in with him again.
All right, the next item of business is, or the next, item that I had asked for to be put on the agenda was, banked overtime for staff. this is something that, the previous management letter of the audit identified the fact that there was some employees that had quite a bit of banked overtime. And it was a concern because that becomes a liability to the town when they take that time off or they leave, it's a massive payout or arrangements have to be made. So I asked for a list of employees with the amount of hours so we could see the liability we might be incurring.
I thought I'll provide you the explanation now.
Okay?
Actually, I think the word is not bank overtime, because what we have in our policy, there's a threshold of 40 hours bank overtime, after which the employee has to start taking them. So we don't really have an issue with bank overtime. What we do have an issue with, and that has been rectified about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, is the accrued vacation. Most of the employees have about 1 year accrued vacation, which means that they go into January, they can take they don't have to start accruing, so they can go maybe 3 weeks, and it's on our books, the balance sheet as 94,000, which is been expensed already because it's now captured on the balance sheet. What happened was that I think that 3 or 4 or 5 employees went over about the 1 year, and so I met with each one of them, and they have a plan to reduce what they've gone over that 1 year so that they are par within what the employees are expected to have. So accrued liability is okay. It's going over it, and about 3 or 4 employees that I have talked to, I've met with them, and there's a plan to reduce that to meet the normal standard.
What is the normal standard? 1 year?
1 year, yeah.
I don't think that that's normal.
No, you're allowed to accrue up to 1 year.
It's not 1 year of holidays.
Yes.
It's like the 1 year's
yes.
worth of holidays.
So it's not
Yes.
52 weeks of vacation.
It's 3 weeks if that's all.
Yes,
it's
that's what I'm saying.
Previous years.
Yes,
Or is it-
exactly.
it's the
Yeah,
previous
that they
year.
haven't taken.
Right, so they could have, like if there's
Are
normally
they talking,
3
is
weeks.
it 6 weeks of vacation, or is it 1 year of vacation?
No, it depends on how long the employee has been here.
That's
If
right.
he's
Each
been
employee
here
is
2
different.
weeks, if they've been for 5 years,
Okay.
maybe 4 weeks. So when you add in total the accrued vacation for all the staff, then you're coming to about 94K. But over and above that, we had a situation where a few employees accrued more than the 1 year. Those are the staff that I have met with, and we have a plan to bring it down to the acceptable 1 year level.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
No,
Yep.
I didn't understand that.
Okay, so for example, like.
Okay, now listen to him and then tell me if this is what you're saying.
Okay, so at ACTO, I have 3 weeks vacation per year.
That's right.
Okay. In Kelly's circumstances, what he's saying, if I was a town employee with the same 3 weeks, if I took no vacation this year, I could carry those 3 weeks to next year.
Okay.
That's my limit.
6 weeks.
I can't go 2 years in a row with no vacation and
Okay.
carry 6 weeks over.
So
That's
6
not allowed.
weeks is, so you do
So
not
they-
have 9 weeks or
No.
12 weeks?
I can only carry over 1 year max.
Okay.
Now, if I'm a 20-year employee and I get 5 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it is, I can still carry that 1 year's worth of
Mhm.
vacation over.
Okay,
But that's the limit.
all right, so you have some employees that have carried more than 1 year's worth.
And I've met with each one of them.
Okay, all right.
I have a plan to.
We know it's Crystal and Vernon.
All right,
So that I thought I could explain to you, that's why I put in
Yep.
my report. so
okay. And you're bringing these down so that they only carry the 1 year?
Exactly.
All right, okay. All right, and the last item is the murals for the arrival of the train anniversary. Perhaps attach a copy of my letter to CN. Did everybody get a copy of that letter?
Yes.
And we have now received a response from CN, Karen Jensen has asked for a profile plan and a site plan with the suggested murals. Because the site plan, of course, is needed to make sure that the locomotive engineers can see as they're coming in. She wants to make sure through the site plan that we're not interfering with the loading zone. There is more discussion, and it cannot be just a sketch. It has to be a very legible, semi-professional type of a grid with distances and profile heights and that kind of thing. So, the question is, how involved do we want to be in this project? Because Ms. Commissar and Ms. Oliver and Mr. Fabine were thinking that the town would offer some public works, type of help to them. Questions?
I think it's a great idea. And it's again, putting our town forward in a positive way, and it's celebratory, and it's a great idea, and I think we should get involved, and I hope we can.
Okay, so we probably will need a motion to direct administration to do this, but before, you can make the motion and then we can discuss it further.
So, I'd like to make the motion that we direct.
Well, first, I suppose we need a motion to accept the CAO's plan, but we're not, I haven't finished talking about all your things here.
Carry on.
Yes?
But I tried getting your attention earlier because I was wondering where we were at in this, because I thought he
Well-
was deliberating and then we moved on to
Yeah, these three,
But
yes.
I would request that you bring that up in your presentation in the future.
You put it, I wanted agenda items, sir,
Oh, okay.
and
I'm getting conflicting information from councillors who want effective agenda items.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I get things that have no background, no rationale, but I want to be courteous, right, and bring it up for discussion, I put them in my report as a parking place, so we can still have the discussion, but we don't clutter the agenda
Okay.
packing of it. That's the reason.
I don't think that that's a clutter. To me, I expected actually these to be on the agenda, and that's why I gave that little bit of background with each one of them. Councillor Enter.
Then my request would be at the start when we ask for amendments to the agenda that we put them on, like mine, so that they are dealt with clearly if you have the information available and you want to discuss it at council. Because right now I still have questions on his report, but I'm not sure if he's done with his report or if he's partially or.
I agree. There seems to be some confusion here.
A quick one here.
Yes?
The item that we had on the agenda from Councillor MTAD, I mean, quickly violates the agency provision of the procedure bylaw. It ought not to be added to the agenda unless it has some serious ramifications for the town. So, we've given you the RFD, request for decisions. If you think that you can provide enough background for us to manage, this is about management. I'm not trying to, make things harder for anybody. But we're here to authorize things that administration cannot do. That's why we have these meetings. We want to be efficient, we want to be effective because we're using taxpayers' dollars. We're not just here to have discussions. So anything that we put on the agenda should have a purpose of authorizing administration to do something. And that's what we're trying to minimize for the information issues and just not create items for the purpose of agenda placement. It's a
I
struggle,
understand
but I'm
what
trying
you're
to be
saying.
helpful.
It's a struggle
Trying
because
to be helpful.
we've basically been told if you want something done, you have to make a motion. In order to make a motion, it should be on the agenda. And so I asked these three items to be placed on the agenda. And I think other councillors have also asked for items to be placed on the agenda, and they don't get placed on the agenda. So that's why they're getting brought up and being said, I want an amendment here. So,
Your procedure bylaw section 30 is very clear on how you get things on the agenda. You will need background information, you need some rationale, and you need some recommendations so that we are being effective. That's, and recommendation, so that we're being effective. And that's what I'm asking
That may be where we're missing here, then, because that's what I was gonna ask, because I don't quite understand what the recommendation is, because we can't just, can we just ask them to sort of give support,
Yeah.
like, we have to sort of,
Okay.
like, that, so that's, I think maybe what we need to do is just ask what it is, because I agree with you, I think this is a great idea, and I think that I'd love to see
Okay,
us be able
so-
to be support, but yeah, there's not a
the
really a recommendation,
recommendation,
yeah.
so that's the next, and I would appreciate it if you could make a note. I would like the RFP emailed to us, rather than, so we don't have to photocopy it. Okay, like you gave us an RFP and I don't know where it went, but,
In the correspondence file.
oh,
An email would work much better, I agree.
no, I wanna fill it out.
It's a blank one.
All right,
I
now,
think I want to go ahead.
we'll go with yours, and then we're gonna go back to the discussion on your report.
That's where I was hoping to go. We
Okay.
should get back to this report here, so.
my one comment would be that the reason I asked for the item that I requested be added to the agenda tonight was because I requested it originally February 14th. And then I requested it again on March 15th, or actually 18th, sorry. No, I'm incorrect, 17th. Sorry, I was looking at your email response on February, not
Okay.
March.
All right. We're now going to finish talking about the CAO's report, which includes the action. So are there any questions on the CAO report?
I have a few, actually.
Would you make a motion, or I don't want to accept the report? Questions?
First question, unsightly sites in your report. Instead of giving the notices as per your conversation here to the property owners, should we not be giving the information to the utility payers, the people who are paying the bills? Cause I rent my home. If the information goes to the property owner, I might not get that information. I might be continuing to put my garbage out on the street not knowing that there's supposed to be any containers. So instead of property owners, maybe whoever is getting the utility bill reserves that information so they know what they're supposed to be doing.
It's probably more effective for the utility bill, because they're paying for garbage pickup on their bill.
Exactly, and to continue on, Senior Peace Officer Alan Bloom, 25-year award as auxiliary constable for the High Prairie. I see he got a plaque. I was wondering if the town should also be giving him some kind of recognition. Maybe we give a plaque or some kind of an award for him. I think it's well deserved. And I have other questions on the action list, but if anybody else wants to talk about his report first.
Report, any questions on the report? No? Councillor Amter?
Yeah, well, it was going back to the unsightly sites. The notices will be posted on our website, on the electronic sign, and then letters we've sent to the property owners to have them notify their tenants. This will take 2 to 3 months. I was hoping, because we've been discussing this for the last 2 months, that we could send those letters out sooner than that and have a 30-day grace period, and then let's start ticking.
That's gonna be 2 months. By the time you get the letters out and you give a 30-day grace period.
We've been discussing it for 2 months.
No, but even if you know, like by the time you get them out and then give a 30-day grace period, we're probably looking at 2 months.
Why are you giving 30-day grace period?
Chance to go purchase garbage cans.
I have to say, most people that I've spoke to about it don't realize that they
That
need
there is a
garbage
bylaw?
cans, that there is a bylaw.
Okay. It just seems long to me, but, alright.
But it's a process, you know, we'll start the wheels in motion and we'll get it done, right? So,
Okay, anything else? No? Any other action, on the action plan?
I got a couple of them on there.
Yes?
The first one for the Gordon Buchanan Center, this has been on here quite a long time, and it's ongoing. Is there something we can do to, I know you had said yourself, Madam Mayor, maybe we should just hire somebody to do this, but like this has been September 11th of 2013, like this is a long time.
I think Brian did volunteer and unfortunately he's not here.
Okay.
And he was gonna sort of try to complete this, Mr. Kraft. I don't know if that got documented.
We'll bring it back the next meeting.
And then on page 82, motion 19814, the information for comparables for the grants that we gave last year and the grants we were given this year. It was, in my opinion, not really the best information provided. There's hardly really anything to compare with that. I was wondering if maybe we could get something more comparable to things that we actually did for grants. What did we do last year? A really good detailed breakdown of what was.
Like a per grant.
Yeah.
Which organizations?
Yes, not for grant, not for
Check.
GL.
For check, the name, how much it was.
And that's the only questions I had on the actions.
we could have that for April, the budget, or before.
Yeah, when we close with my report, can you make a motion clearly what you want?
Yep.
Can you? Yeah.
Is there any other questions on the action list? No? Okay, a motion to accept
Make
for
a motion to
information?
accept
Councillor Carrier has made the motion to accept for information, all in favor? All right, arising motions?
I'd like to make a motion to direct administration to give a plaque or an award of some kind to our senior police officer Alan Bloom for his 25 years as an auxiliary hospital to High Prairie St.
We have a policy.
Uh,
We have a,
the policy.
Are we doing something now?
We have to look at our policy.
yeah.
Direct administration to review the policy.
If we have a policy, we have a policy, I guess. But I hope something, I surely hope something gets done.
So,
I'll withdraw that motion then.
withdraw the motion, okay, Councillor Hampton?
I'd like to make a motion that we direct administration to present prior to the April 15th. Is that when our budget meeting is? 10th. April 10th, an actual 2013 versus budgeted 2014 grant requests under each individual request. So we can compare what totals we've been giving out. Gave out last year versus what's been requested to give out this year. So as per my email that I sent today, noon, as the example.
Okay, let's read that back to make sure you get the wording.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what you wanted to present.
No, he had made a motion.
Originally it was a motion, but it's just carried on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
It's difficult to, how do I explain
just
all of
teasing
it,
you.
you know, like, just, like I wrote in the email. Just put that as a motion.
Okay, what have you got?
I don't really have much. I just want to know what you want administration to present to council. An actual 2013.
Chart, comparison chart.
Comparison chart between actual 2013 versus budgeted 2014 grant requests from each organization. That way, so like when it comes to the amateur rodeo where I said, hey, let's give this amount. And Brian said, well, how much did we give last year? Well, I don't know.
So is that actually a grant request then that you're asking about? Because in my mind, that's a
Grants and sponsorships.
That's a sponsorship.
Add sponsorship, sorry. Cause I even wrote that in the email, but I didn't put it here.
As a friendly amendment, instead of just the word requests, I think we need to be more detailed and say what we got for requests and what was approved.
That's actual.
Well, that'll be actual for 2013, and then requested kind of gives us the idea that let's say last year we gave $100,000 in grants and sponsorships, and this year we're at 70. But then we could revisit those that still have.
So it's just been approved at this point. Okay, can you read it when you're ready? So, RFPs under correspondence? Huh?
The what?
The RFPs, those,
The RFDs?
yeah, or RFDs for customer decisions, they're under correspondence?
Yeah, there is in the correspondence.
So I can email it to myself. I can email it to myself.
How do you do that?
You, just. Yeah. That's what I've been doing all the time. Okay, have you got it now?
I think so. When do you want? I know you say prior.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's okay? Okay.
As long as we get it before we meet that night.
So moved by Councillor Emter that Council direct administration to present prior to the special meeting the April 10th, 2014 special meeting of council regarding budget 2014 budget deliberations, a comparison chart showing actual 2013 council approved grant and sponsorships versus actual 2014 council approved grant and sponsorships from each organization that requested a grant or sponsorship.
Okay? All right. All in favor? It's carried. Now, we've done his report, we've done the action plan. Do you want to discuss do you want to make a motion then for the
Yes.
train murals?
Yes, and so my motion would be, go back to the page. Where are you on the page?
I am on this one. Okay?
I would like to make a motion that, that we direct, pardon me?
Administration?
Yeah, that we direct administration to, discuss with CN, and with our town, Public Works, thank you. Proper location and a possible location for a mural. And talk, and maybe include with that, Ms. Commissar, Ms. Oliver, and Mr. Flavang,
To facilitate the
to
mural.
facilitate the mural.
Okay, you want to read it back?
Moved by Councillor Long that Council direct administration to discuss with CN and the Public Works staff a proper and possible location to facilitate a centennial mural.
Okay? All right, all in favor? Okay, so now we're only facilitating this to a certain point. We haven't given them any money yet. They haven't asked for any money, but we are moving it along. And Ms. Commissar is aware of anything of this? Just the letter. You sent her a copy of the letter. Okay. All right. Maybe I'll give her a call. All right, next item of business is the Northwest Persons with Disability Development. And Councillor, no, what have you got?
6I.
Oh, Big Lakes Family and Community Support Services. I tried to cross that off already. Councillor Hunter,
Make a motion to receive for information.
any questions on this? Any discussion? Anybody think it was worthwhile meeting? Councillor Demaka?
Did we ever come to any consensus on what kind of a report we wanted?
Not yet, and that's why we probably won't do anything with this one yet.
Okay.
But it certainly is part of our wish list that we should do something
Okay.
further on. All in favor? It's carried. Next item of business now is the Northwest Persons with Developmental Disabilities. Councillor Carrier,
Make a motion to accept for information.
is there any discussion on this? And the only question I have is there anyone from High Prairie receiving this award? Which goes back to Constable Bloom receiving that award, and don't think there was anybody present from the town to say congratulations or represent the town in that award. I can't see why anybody would go to this unless somebody from our area was receiving an award, and then I think that somebody should be there. So, but that also is something that can be discussed at another time, or we could direct administration to find out if anybody is receiving an award. Or maybe we would know. The motion reads, what does it read now?
Moved by Councillor Carrier that Council receive the Northwest Persons with Developmental Disabilities Annual Spring Celebration and Award Night held in Grand Prairie on May 30th, 2014. Invitation to attend for information.
Any other discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Next item of business, 2014 ADCO Community Support Symposium. Councillor Carrier?
I make a motion that council approve one member of council to attend the 2014 ATCO Community Symposium in Grand Prairie at the Entrec Center, Evergreen Park on May 22nd, 2014.
Any discussion on this?
Which member of council, please?
Any member, any one member. Do you want somebody specific? If Quentin would like to, if Councillor Enter would like to attend, because he is with ATCO, I nominate,
Can we just leave it?
she wants a name.
Okay. Cause if ASCO's gonna send me, then we can save lots of money.
That's right.
I'll ask
They
them.
And the problem we have, when we don't choose.
Or
them,
designate.
we have to
Councillor
choose.
enter or designate.
Sounds good.
What does designate?
That means that if he gets a chance to go paid for by somebody else, he just phones somebody else and asks, do they wanna go? Do you see anybody else jumping up and saying, I wanna go, I wanna go? No. Let him have it. He's fine. Anybody else have any questions on?
Is that okay with?
Does that work for you?
We're trying to avoid, we're trying to make decisions, council to make decisions here rather than outside trying to keep a friend.
Does anybody wanna go?
Pick a friend, guys.
Okay, I make a motion, I rescind my, my motion. Sorry.
Okay.
And I'll move that we just accept this information and carry on.
Okay. I'll let you know if I'm going.
Alright, all in favor? It is carried. Nope, nope, nope.
Saving
We're
money,
now-
Kelly, saving money.
We are now at the mayor's report. And you've read the report, do you have any questions regarding it? And I have nothing to add. Yes? Mr. Tomato?
Don't get me wrong.
No, I won't, I'll
Yeah.
just jump down your throat.
Relationship's improving, we're joking with each other.
I'm just curious about why you put your report in the paper, right? When every councillor puts it through the agenda packet, when we all treated evenly.
Did anybody else send it in to the newspaper? It's an open policy there.
I
Does
guess
anybody else want to put it in? It's an open policy there. Send it in if you want. I want to communicate with the people who elected me. That's why I put it in. Okay?
I guess, yeah.
Yep.
No questions from you?
All right. I move my report for information. All in favor? It's carried. The next one is Councillor Carrier.
No, no report. Had no meetings, nothing happening since last council meeting.
Okay. So no report for information. Councillor Danaka.
My report is in the agenda. Anybody have any questions?
I wish I had been able to go to Seal Lake. And we should talk about signage as something that you both saw the need for. So definitely, maybe brought up at the economic roundtable. So, something to keep in the back of our minds,
You're
definitely.
talking intergovernmental,
Yeah. Yes?
That was brought up with the Minister of Transportation, as Ross, so I'm in the process, sorry, I'm jumping the gun here, but, in the process of drafting letters that we brought forward to council, and, our CAO and I are working on those, so that'll be included to the Minister of Transportation as well.
Good, good. Could we, any other questions on Councillor Donato's report? Could you move for information?
The only thing I would like to say regarding the trip to Seal Lake, I think we need to shift our focus from paving that road, cause I think that the ship has sailed regarding that road. I think maybe we should be focusing on maybe connecting to Fox Creek. I don't know. That's my personal opinion from what I saw up there. I think the ship has sailed. Paving that road is not gonna give us any more benefit. Harmon Valley Road is paved almost right to it.
Councillor Enter.
I'm hoping that with the expansion of the Shell plant and the employment opportunities that are gonna be there, it's gonna shift the focus from the CLA workers into that area, and then we can start being more like the Slave Lake that has the access to Wabasca oil fields. And that things will flow through us to go to the Seal Lake area. This building, that's my hope. The Fox Creek, I don't know what would be entailed in getting that going.
That's a 5-year at least project. It's not even on the drawing board. But you're right.
Yeah, we gotta look forward at the same time, you know,
Sure.
just.
And I think that as the intergovernmental roundtable, that's a discussion for them.
And the concern of industries that still really felt that there was a need for it, so I think that maybe we don't really have the full picture of what potentially could come from it, so we'll just.
I think we'll keep pushing it.
Okay, did you move your report for
I
information?
move my report for information.
All in favor? Councillor Enter.
Sadly, I was late again submitting, so it's not in writing. I will read it, even though I've emailed it to everybody.
Isn't this it?
Yeah, but it's not part of the agenda, cause I didn't get it submitted in time.
Oh.
So it's just a printed copy for everybody, which the public doesn't have. The only scheduled meeting I had was, last night, March 25th, an invitation to the High Prairie School Division 48 Board, improving relationships between the two parties, current access, usage, maintenance of the joint facility, etc. Then I discussed how Mr. Tamako and I spoke to Municipal Advisor Desiree, requesting clarification on when a recorded vote can be called for and who's the state point of order. Basically, she was almost verbatim of what Kelly said, which was really good. But then I guess she trained him, so it kind of worked out that, you know, it was verbatim. The clarification was in conflict with another municipal advisor, Devin
Conflict
Parlin.
between municipal advisors.
Just
saying.
I wanna cut all my hair off, cause I'll just pull it out if I don't get a chance. And then, there was a question in regards to the High Prairie Golf Course. The floods of 2013 that damaged the High Prairie Golf Course, they had, given me a claim form. I had brought it to one of our budget meetings. I had a discussion with Herb, and I gave it to Herb, and Kelly came over, and Herb gave it to Kelly. And I don't know where it went from there, I don't know what happened to it at that point. So the deadline has passed. You can't change the past. So if we didn't get it signed, it didn't get it to the golf course, that's the way it is. But I don't know, did we sign it and mail it to them or anything?
No, you sent an email to everybody, and I didn't get a form, and in your email was very clear that I had taken the form. The form was with her, wasn't with me. I never got it. So
Herb and I were standing right there. And
So I went back to him after you sent the email because I was very confused.
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, I have the form." So today what I did was still very confused. I called the temple so that I could get down to the administrative to understand things, because the whole weekend I spent trying to figure out what's this all about. I spoke to Dave and he explained to me what happened with the flood about 6 in July, and then instantly they got an opportunity for the grant sometime in January, and then they were being rushed, and that's all that information that I got. I would prefer that next time, maybe the golf course, administration to administration, we have a situation here, this is the background, can you assist us? But in the shuffle of trying to help, and I believe that you were trying to help, I was so confused.
We were dealing with like
Exactly.
it was the
help at the documents
Northwest
that we had.
Disaster Recovery Relief Program or something like that. Okay.
All right, anything else?
Nope, that's it. Move.
Any questions?
Move for information.
All in favor? Councillor Long?
Just that, notice that there will be, letters coming before council for approval before we send them out, to the various ministers that I met in Edmonton. That's about it.
Thank you. Move for information?
Information.
All in favor? It's carried. Councillor Panasic has, his report here. It was not part of the agenda, so I will not do anything with it other than receive it for information. I move that Councillor Panasic's report be received for information. All in favor? It's carried. Councillor Rose?
I have no report. The only meeting that I had, well, I guess the long continuous LSLEA, but I was out of the office and unable to attend.
When is the next meeting of the Intergovernmental Roundtable people?
Second.
I think it's the second one.
April 2nd?
Second?
Oh, yeah. It was the first one, second.
April 2nd, he went in from
10
10 to 2.
And I did forward, I had a discussion last night with the school board about their interest in attending that.
Oh, yes?
And talked to Chamber President today, and they're inviting all the school boards and districts to the next one.
Okay, I believe, could you, move your report for information?
No report, but I do have a report for information.
Your verbal report.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? It's carried. And, yes, Councillor Enter?
Nope.
No, Councillor Carrier, I'm looking,
I just make a motion that we carry on and deal with our land issue and move into Canada.
good. Thank you very much for attending, gallery, and sitting through our discussions.
Sorry for snickering.